of a cool part of it too, man. It's just like, you know, back from where you are to where we are, it's been a cool journey to watch like both sides grow. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because like coming from all the way from like working at Orange Theory, you know what I mean? Like
long ride,
right,
man.
dude. And that's you know, and it's crazy how those kind of things, like, you know, and we had more people at Triad, or different people at Triad, and Chad and Vincent are gone now, and they're doing great. But yeah, it's been cool to watch. You know, it's been good. That's I think one of the cooler things about being here as long as we have now is watching like people we're close with or people we're friends with, kind of how they've developed and things that they've done in their time, you know, from, you know, like we're just talking about, like working at a gym to being, you know, owning a gym to, you know, we've had friends who owned a gym and then owned coffee shops. And then it's like, you know, we have all sorts of really interesting stories that we get to hear of people as they've kind of grown throughout the years.
And it's a never ending spider web of people you meet in this industry, which is so cool. Yeah. And you didn't even realize that going in. You know, every young trainer has the aspirations. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to train people. And you're like, oh yeah, like I'm definitely going to help people get healthier. Like that's dope. But at the same time, like I get to sit here and be on a podcast with you guys. I mean, it's just, you know, there's curveballs left and right in this industry, and you guys know that, but having a good core, and I think Oklahoma City has a good core. Like we do a good job of taking care of our city the best that we can. And I really don't feel that, and I may be, you know, alone in this category. I definitely don't feel the need for competition. There's so much people for everybody to eat, man.
Yeah.
And if you like how we do things and you want to come here, like great. And if you like CrossFit or cycling or whatever you like, dude, if you're staying in shape,
we're happy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Well, and that's like, you know, and I think has kind of been a cool thing, kind of like, not purposefully or anything, but I think like us having the podcast has kind of allowed us to blur those lines a little bit of like going to, you know, different gym owners or different people that we've had on the podcast. And it's like, it's been a really cool thing because again, I think it allows an opportunity or a platform to people within the same industry, but doing different stuff to realize like how much we're the same.
Absolutely.
You know, and at the end of the day, like that's like if you took away everyone's history with each other, right? You took away like all the issues that anybody's had with anybody or whatever. If you took all those things away and like we all just met somewhere for a conference, we'd all really like each other. Yeah. You know, like as an industry, like we'd all really get along well because there's a lot of like-minded people who have just done slightly different things.
It's actually funny that you bring that up because like you said, you know, happenstance, none of us know each other, right?
Right.
You stick us, and I'm talking all of the fitness gurus of the city in a show like Big Brother. Could you imagine the fucking TV that would be? Like physical challenges were like, let's fucking go.
Right. It would be, it'd be great. But again, it's like, we've kind of had a unique opportunity and like perspective of like talking to, you know, people from all different walks of the fitness industry. And again, it's like, I think it's refreshing for us too, sometimes to just like, he needs more. Yeah. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Dirty girl.
It started pouring out faster and faster. So like I did the same amount of time on each of them, I feel like, and mine ended up like halfway full.
Wow, Kev. You have a stressful day?
You know, when you got a family and...
Yeah, can't relate. But
my dog just did get his nuts chopped off. So
dang.
It's not having a kid, but he's whining. I'll tell you.
We'll have a drink for him.
Yeah.
To Jordan's dog's nuts.
To Jordan's dog's nuts.
Jordan's dog's nuts that used to be.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Hopefully not pieces.
I do love the double oaked. It is a good bottle.
That is smooth.
Yeah. When was the last time you had double oaked?
That is fantastic.
I feel like I've had regular Woodford, but I don't know if I've ever had the double oaked.
You have.
Before.
I have a bottle of double oaked that you've had. I have the OG, the old bottle of double oaked, the like tall, skinny guy.
I expected that to be no more than 80 proof. It's not super, super hot, but it's 90 proof. Mm-hmm. So, do you do much bourbon or anything like just?
It is my absolute drink of choice.
Okay. So drinking. You know, you don't need the walkthrough or anything.
Yeah, a lot of the wintertime calories come from Crown and Coke. So, and I know I don't sound like much of a whiskey drinker because I'm mixing it with Coke, but that's how I prefer it if I'm going to have 7 on the golf course. You know what I mean? So,
you're not drinking hot whiskey on the golf course? That's weird.
No.
130 proof out there in the heat, the Oklahoma heat.
But I'm also down to be a degenerate and do a fireball shot if a birdie gets made. So, kind of both ends of the line there.
Double oaked is one of my favorite, like a go-to bottle that's good to, just... Like I wouldn't be upset if we finished it. You know what I mean? Like if I owned a bottle, I'd be like, whatever. Like
you can usually find it, but
yeah. And it's not expensive. It's not cheap, but it's like it kind of falls in the middle. It's but it is very good any way I've ever had it. I've had it obviously neat. It's one of the better neat whiskeys if you're trying like to go to neat whiskey for like the first time. Maybe you've done mixed drinks, or maybe you've always done like on the rocks or just ice or water or whatever.
That would be a really good first one.
It's a very solid like transition into it because it doesn't have the bite. It's very mellow.
That is one of the most mellow ones I've ever had.
It's very good. Yeah. But I've also liked it a lot in mixed drinks too. Like a double oaked whiskey sour is bomb. Yeah, big fan.
Yeah, it's been years since I've had that. But yeah, that's so. And just a heads up to you, we don't have a freezer here, so we don't really usually bring ice. Sometimes if we'll throw a little, like spritz a little water in there, kind of cool it off a little bit, but just kind of sip on it. So sometimes I fail to give people a heads up and they just take it full as a shot. And it's like, I forget, like not everybody is like
not going to be throwing that back anytime soon.
I poured him a little stiff tonight. That would have been, that would have made for, that would have been an interesting podcast.
It reminds me of, my buddy Tyler back in college. I can't remember Tyler's last name. He's not watching.
Close friend.
Could be. But when I was moving down to Oklahoma City, we were at JOB, which is kind of a whiskey bar in Springfield, a nice one. And we were in there, and I was talking to him, and I was like, hey, like it was kind of my last hurrah in Springfield, and I was kind of going out, and he was like, oh, let me get us like a shot. And I'm like, okay, bet. And I know he went to the bartender, he went to Danny or somebody up there and was like, hey, like I want something nice, and I'm pretty sure it was, I'm going to butcher what it was, but I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like a 20-year scotch. It was dude, they charged, I saw his tab for the 2 shots. You'll see where the story's going. The tab for the 2 was like $135. So it was like nice scotch. Yeah. And he handed it to me, no idea what it was. He said, it's a shot. And I said, bet. And we cheers and drank them. And I said, what the fuck was that? And he's like, I don't know. And the guy was like, that was Balvenie 23. And I'm like, why did we just shoot that? What just happened? So
really wish I would have drank that differently.
Oh yeah. No, for real.
I bet it was a good shot though.
Nah, it doesn't go down the same. Yeah.
Scotch. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't go down the same. You're not, when you're like, wait a minute. Something's wrong.
One swig of that and you're not feeling the same.
Yeah. What? Something's wrong here.
Well, before we get too far into it, we probably should introduce you, Jordan.
Oh.
Jordan McGuire here today with us. Been a longtime friend. Longer than I remember sometimes.
It has been a minute.
And I hope to get into that because we kind of we talked about that. I think it'd be fun to touch on some stories. It
will be fun to touch on some stories.
But man, one of the part owners and operators at True Grit Fitness, you guys absolutely kill it over there. Man, the transformations that you guys see out of that gym are just incredible. The amount of care you guys put into each member that comes in, the relationship that you build with every single person that comes in the door, is very, very cool. It's why you guys have been as successful as.
It's why you guys are who you are.
Yeah,
and it's all due in part to, like you touched on the transformations, and you guys have helped us out so much with that. I mean, with meal plans and providing us with just top-notch service, and the product is just, unbeatable. And it's actually funny when, we're challenges are starting or whatever. And people are like, oh, so yeah, like it's kind of like a GNC. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not at all like that. And, but yeah, dude, we're just a big community, man. We're here to help everybody out. And it's just cool to kind of, just sit back and watch how you've grown and I've grown and all the different avenues you've taken and, just getting to get closer with you over the years. It's been a treat, man. It really has.
Yeah, dude. It's been fun to grow alongside you, man. Cause I know, gosh, I can remember back to, and this is way after we met even, was when you were starting to put together the plans for True Grit, and you guys, everything was kind of starting to come together, and we had known each other for a while prior to then, and you coming to me and saying, hey, I want you guys to be involved. I want you guys to, hit more of the nutrition side of things. And I think we even started when you guys first opened, it was later in the year, right? Mm-hmm. It was
around summertime in June or July when we really got started firing.
Was it 2018?
2018.
Which was the first year that I had taken over full ownership. Partners had left. So I was trying to figure everything out that they were doing, trying to implement some of my own stuff, ideas that I wasn't able to implement prior to that. And you came to me and said, hey, we want you involved. I think we started with really just kind of like at your grand opening, I remember putting together like a grocery list for a lot of your members. And then you guys fired up and did a challenge. That's right. You started in the summer and then you did your first challenge late in the year.
Right.
And that first challenge, the first and the second challenge especially, I think really made me realize how big of a thing that you guys were building. And it was really, really cool because you guys put more trust than we've ever had anybody on the nutrition side of things. And you said, hey, we want you guys to write the meal plans. Now, of course, we wanted to work with you guys. You know your members better than we know your members. So we want to write something that works for the people that but you let us cover the nutrition and cover the meal plans. We kept them more guidelines than anything else. And they have morphed quite a bit over the years. Man, even just from me realizing things that we could have done better the first round and making changes as we go, all the way to Kaylin kind of trying out some new avenues. Man, you were giving her huge compliments when we were at the store just before this on the last meal plans that you guys did, which is really, really cool to hear because I know they have changed quite a bit since I was in charge of those. So
yeah, and I mean, kind of like what you were saying, and I'll give Kaylin a shout out on the air because I mean that was literally the best meal plans I've had, and like I said, it's having two options for our members. Like I told you in the store, I was like, if you're the average person coming off the street, and you're like, you know what, man, like I need to make healthier decisions. Like, great. We got a lifestyle plan for you. And I love the name of it, by the way, because it really drives home. And then we have what we call our grittiest because we're True Grit, So it's like, hey, you're trying to buckle down, bro? Like, I got a meal plan for you. And if you come 5 times a week, you will see results doing this. Actually just wrapping up a challenge and on some Triad products, really good stuff. Obviously with the meal plan and
challenge.
Lots of hard work, 25 pounds down in 6 weeks, fellas. Well, I needed it after the holiday season, I tell you that. But yeah, it was actually funny. I was spending $150 on First Form beef sticks, and I was gearing up.
I think that's real quick. I think that might be a record.
That's up there.
I will happily take that record from you. And I saw it was a sign or something, and it was for the Triad Challenge. And I believe my buddy Ted has won one in the past, or at least competed in one and did really well. But I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm already doing it for 6 weeks. Why not we just saddle up and make it 12, I was like, let's go ahead and go do it, man. So, yes, drinking this, first sip of alcohol since the beginning of the year. So cheap drunk for you tonight.
I can't wait to review the pictures of you in your underwear.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be awesome.
They do have Fruit Loops on them. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
It is what it is.
But yeah, man, the amount of freedom that you gave us to work with your members on the meal plans was really cool, man. And I can't tell you how big of a difference that's made for us over the years. And man, I can remember I think it was the very first challenge. I It was just back when we just had one person in the store, and I went out, did the whole kickoff. We did the weigh-ins. I passed out meal plans, talked to people. We'd let people try samples, and I brought, all our stuff back to the store afterwards. And I was sticking around, like putting stuff away, and the door just kept dinging. Like people kept coming in, and I was like, holy crap. I ended up staying. I got back to the store probably around noon, and I didn't get to leave until probably 7 p.m. because we just had people still coming in. And it was like, it was Trace that was working at the time, and it was like, one person is not enough right now. Nope. And that's what made me realize, like, holy crap. Okay. Like this, like helping with these meal plans is making a huge difference for us. One of the coolest parts, at least in that first challenge, that really got me amped up and excited to even make improvements to the next ones and keep working with you guys, was I had more than one person come to me and say, talk about the meal plans, not in the way of how much weight they lost, but they told me that they finally understand how they should be eating to not just lose weight, but to be healthy.
Amen, dude.
And that was the coolest feeling.
Lifelong changes.
Absolutely.
I can remember the first person that told me that. I can remember exactly where I was standing in your gym when they told me that.
And see, like that's what it's all about, man. And like impacting lives, man. And that's, like I said, dude, that's what we're all about, though. Yeah, right? That's why we're in the positions we're in.
It's one of the cool things that we talk about that I don't think gets thought of this way, but it's something that like I'll kind of pose to you because I think it'll be a cool perspective if you've never thought of it. Is how many people did you introduce to their grandchildren?
Oh my gosh, I've never even
thought I mean?
About that.
Like how many years of life has your gym and your people added onto the lives of people? How, like I said, I think it's a good way. How many grandchildren did you just introduce to their grandparents?
And to piggyback off of that too, and I was talking with Kev a little bit, he knows I do it, but you hit the nail on the head about seeing it in a different way and a different perspectives. Cause I do have been for the last about 4.5 years doing geriatric therapy up at a hospital, and seeing people come in, whether it's stroke or they're in a wheelchair or they're just old and fragile, whatever. And I mean, 80, 85 plus, and they come in, dude, and then they're like, obviously not doing a true grit class, but they're pretty damn close. And and it's such a cool experience to see. And it's not, oh, well, I lost 15 pounds today. Well, no, Frances, you don't want to lose 15 pounds, but she was like, I can reach the plates in my top cabinet or whatever it is. And you're just like, awesome. It was actually funny. This sweet old lady, she said, I showered today for the first time without having my assistant help me shower. Wow. And I said, well, I wish I could have been there. But, I was like, I'll just take your word for it that it was pretty awesome.
Great to hear about it.
Great to hear about it. I'm sure it was a 10 out of 10. And,
but that's a cool thing. Like, that's funny, obviously, but it's like, what an empowering thing. Like to be able to, something we take for granted of being able to just bathe ourselves, right? Like shower by ourselves without somebody else having to be there. And it's like, that's a level of like freedom reestablished into somebody like, and a level of like, I don't know the right word, but like a level of, embarrassment maybe taken away, or like a level of like not just feeling like you're helpless, like those kind of things. Like there's so much value in something like that, of being like empowering somebody and allowing them to extend their ability to take care of themselves, and the dignity that comes along with that, I feel like is an important aspect.
And it's actually, not to be Debbie Downer on the podcast or anything, but like you talk about the freedoms, right? And so like my grandpa has been severely suffering with like Alzheimer's, man. And like, he taught me how to be a man's man. And like over the summers when I was a kid, man, I go down there and work and build barbed wire fence. And like, I'd work the whole summer and get paid like $500. And back then I was like, hell yeah. Now I'm like that cheap bastard, but dude, to see him now, man, like he's got like ladies, nurses that come and like change him, bro. And like seeing him like that, dude, I'm like, if he would have had something like what I'm providing, would he have been able to make it just a little bit further, you know, because I mean, like, never saw the man cry, like, never saw him get hurt, like, or get hurt but not show that he was, you know, and to just see him, you know, and I just ask him all the time, and he's still such a tough son of a gun, man. I'm like, how you doing? I'm doing great, you know, you know, and you know he's not, you know, but he's just, you never hear him complain, man. My hero did, for real. Like, never hear him complain. And like you said, you know, obesity is a problem. I mean, my word. And, you know, to see the people come in that are ready to make the change, like, and we're providing them an avenue to do it. It's never too late, man.
No.
People think it is, man. It's not.
Yeah. You guys talk about, not to get too much on a tangent, but you guys talk about as you get older and the assistance that you need. And I think at one point or another, you kind of have to, like, the more you can prolong that, obviously, the better. But I think we all have to hit that at some point. And I think it's good for me to personally hear those stories so I can start mentally preparing now, even though I'm only 30, of like, I'm going to have to go through that. Like, someone might have to help me shower.
Right. And Jordan will be there.
He's in my Fruit Loop underwear. They're going to help me shower.
He'll be holding you up.
I'm strong enough to. That's right. I may not look it,
but yeah, I mean, I can keep touching back on, you know, being able to work with you guys. I hope you know that I am a stickler when it comes to working with the Quail Springs staff and with Kaylin. And Kaylin's awesome. There's a big reason that we trust her with the meal plans and to cover everything. But it's, you know, you can ask them, like, you guys are probably the ones I check in on with the most, because you made the biggest difference for us in that period of time whenever we were really kind of revamping things and trying to gain some momentum and get through this plateau of just barely paying our bills. And you guys were a huge part of that I always come back to, like, hey, like, how are we doing with True Grit? Are we treating them well? Are we going out there? Are we working with them? Like, how are we treating their members? Like, I'm pretty constantly on them about that one. I was like, that is a big relationship for us. They did a lot for us. Make sure we treat them well.
If I find out we're not going to True Grit anymore, like, heads are going to roll.
And that's, you know, a relationship and that organic, you know, and people list, like, it is, man. Like, I'd go to bat for you guys all the time, dude. And you guys know that. But to go back, like you said, when we first met at Orange Theory, so this was like day one, like, getting into the fitness community. Like, I was like, I had trained some people, like, in my dad's backyard, like, after I got off work plumbing. Like, I was like, this sounds like a cool avenue, you know? And I had a 45-pound plate and some chains, and we made that shit work, baby. Like,
I think I remember seeing videos of you.
$60 for 6 weeks, dude. That was a hell of a steal, you know? And I was like, I just wrote up a, you know, terrible meal plan, I'm sure, you know, wrestling diet, you know, this will take the weight off you quick. And then, you know, waiting tables, and the owners of Orange Theory came and sat, and just crazy. I was like, what's Orange Theory? You know, it's like, oh, it's this gym, whatever. And they were still building out the Edmond location. They're like, in whatever month it was, July, we'll be open. Come and drop off, you know, an application. I showed them my videos of me training. They're like, you seem like you have some spunk, whatever. And I was like,
I think I remember seeing those videos of you in, like, a field with, like, tires and stuff.
Dude. Yeah. I still love tire flips. Well, I was their waiter. You know, they tipped me well, left me their business card. Well, I was deciding to leave Charleston. So I was cleaning out my book with all the, you know, notes or whatever, the menu, whatever, my little booklet I had. And I saw the business card, and it was like October. And I was like, oh, I forgot about that. You know, because you see so many tables every day.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And I liked fitness, but I was like, is that going to be my career? I don't know. You know. And so I called and went in there, and they're like, well, all of our trainer spots are taken, but you can be front desk. And I was like, cool. Like, get my foot in the door. And like, that's when Kevin came in, and I don't know if you actually remember, but you had that little table set up.
That was when I used to go to Orange Theory. I used to, sorry to rewind just a tad. It was Alyssa that also, she was the one that started, I think, seeing ads for Orange Theory and signed me up to go have a meeting with Eric and Nabila. So I remember meeting with them in one of the vacant rental places as their actual building was getting built out. That was before any Orange Series were open. And I walked in, and it was like a tent set up inside, but with like all Orange Series stuff, and sitting down with them and talking to them and building a relationship. And obviously we got to build a relationship and have gotten to work with them over the years. But once they opened up, getting to go out there, and that was a period of time where I would show up for the 5 a.m. class and stay all the way through the 9 p.m. class.
Yeah.
Because it was like, dude, we got bills to pay, we got a store, we got rent to pay, we've got all these things.
We need to meet some people.
Yeah, and we don't have any customers coming in. So what do? We got to get out there and get some people come in the door. Yep. So it was like, what else am I going to do? Like if I've got the day off, I'll go spend the entire day at Orange Theory. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the very first time that I went there and did that. And you were working the front desk.
It was actually the first time. And that's what's so crazy is it's so crazy how everything comes full circle like that, because when you came in and sat in, and I was a relatively new employee at that point, like I said, because I wasn't first desk for long or front desk for long. So it had to have been early on. And I have a list of cleaning duties I got to get done as soon as class starts. Got them done, came out, and I was like, tell me about you. Like, I'm interested. Right. I'm new to the fitness world. Tell me about what this is. Are you GNC? You know, what is this? And Kevin and I talked. Like he said, he was there all day. I mean, like I said, I remember that day like it was yesterday, and just being so drawn to how much you cared about what you were into. You were passionate, dude. And like from that early point, dude, everybody, and then, the bandwagoners, they'll try it, dude, from day one. Like I said, brought you with me, dude. I knew. And I was like, this guy is genuine. So left Orange Theory, went to some other gyms, brought you with me. And then now here we are, and I wouldn't trade you for the world, man. It's been a fun ride, dude. It really has.
It has been, man. Yeah, and that was, I think that was the cool part, man. It was as soon as you started getting going with True Grit, was you coming to us and being like, we want you involved. I don't know what that looks like yet, but like I remember sitting back in the back of the store, and like Trace and Alfonso were there, and you left, and they were like, who was that guy? I'm like, that's Jordan McGuire. Like, he's going to change the fitness industry.
We're trying to do it one step at a time, man. We're playing our part.
It's funny to look back. I know we were talking about this a little bit before, but it is funny to look back and just, what life looked like back then. It's easy to kind of reminisce and look back on it fondly, but then you like actually remember being back then, and you're like, those were long days.
Oh my
dude! I remember talking about being at Orange Theory from the 5 a.m. class until 9 p.m. was, I think, the first time I did that. I was inexperienced. And so I sat on a cooler pretty much that whole day behind that table. Like, cause it was like, as class was going on, I was just kind of hanging out, and I was like, I guess I'll get a little Jordan. Talking in the evening. I was talking to Jordan. We left that night, and I don't know if
our conversation spilled into the parking lot. Actually, the parking lights came on. I was like, well, shit, it's like 11:45. We may want to go home.
And hopefully I wasn't the only one that thought this, but I was like, I think we just became best friends, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, it was, class would go on there were hour-long classes, right?
Yep.
And class would be going on. So it'd just be me hanging out in the lobby, and it was like, I guess I'll pull my laptop out and get a little work done, but it's like, I got a cooler to sit on. So I did that like for an hour at a time in between every class, man. So
it's funny. We use you as an example pretty regularly because when we go to classes, if we're at whatever class it is, where it is like a class session where we're kind of outside, and it's, you kind of have, we tell people that at that point, like, you kind of have if you need to go sit in your car and do something on your phone or whatever, like, you're free to do that. But don't underestimate getting to be friends or getting to know whoever's working the front desk, because that's how we met Jordan McGuire. Right? And it's like, you don't know what, like, you meet somebody like who's a front desk person in the fitness industry, and it's like 3, 4, 5 years down the road or whatever, it's like, you don't know, like, these can be like not that we aren't, like, you want to just be friends with people, but it's like, don't just immediately go out to your car. Like, realize that there's people all around you who are influencing the industry.
Where would we both be if I would have gone out to my car that evening?
Right, dude.
As classes were going on.
I mean, for real. I mean, I think both of our trajectories look extremely different, because obviously like we wouldn't have the challenge success of, helping you guys helping us, down the road, and then vice versa. You get the just people coming in droves for, when it's challenge time. Did you know when it's True Grit challenge time? Because we're beating your door down.
Dude, we legitimately started doing we got to have 3 people on staff Saturday and Sunday. Whenever
when I was at the hospital, Kevin would be like, "Can you come work this weekend? Like True Grit challenge is kicking off," and I'd be like, "Yeah, I can come help."
Dude, I remember there being one time. It was a Saturday, and it was probably 6:45 at night. It's like 15 minutes before we closed. And we had this older couple in that weren't True Grit members, but they just happened to be in that evening, and it was like a full day. There was probably 3 of us on staff, or there's 3 people on staff plus myself and Alyssa. So there's like 5 of us up there, and we're all with customers, most of them being True Grit. And I remember taking this older couple who were not True Grit members and weren't familiar at that time. I told them about you guys, but I remember them being like people just coming in the door constantly, which they've been doing all day. Them like the wife eventually stepping back, she'd be like, "What is going on right now? It's 7 p.m. at night, and you guys are like
gangbusters."
Yeah, it's like what is this place?
Yeah, we're pretty popular. No big deal.
Is what it is.
I mean, it's Saturday night. It's not that busy.
Yeah, it's not busy at all.
It's funny you say that, because we'll have, with just different challenges going on and like having the in-body and stuff, Saturdays will be like a lot of challenge. We'll do weigh-ins, right? Yep. And they will, a lot of times, like Fit Camp 180 or 4-Star Fit Camp or whatever, the different ones that'll happen kind of around here, is they will send their people to come in body after they weigh in. And like we'll have like a regular or something, like we've got a regular, his name's Dave, and he walked in and there was 16 people in line to use the in body, and he's like, "What the shit is happening right now? I usually eat beef sticks and Formula One. What is going on?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's like it's Saturday." Like
it's actually crazy that you bring that up, because I think it's been about 2 years or so. We partnered with a place. Sorry for the no plug. I honestly forgot what it was called, but we went to go scan over there, and it was like a ridiculous amount, like per scan. And
maybe better to not plug that.
We told the members, we were like, not, because we went in like all feet. We're like, $250 for the challenge, like should be good to cover the, because it was a 10-week challenge. It was a little bit longer.
Right.
And we went in there and it was like, dude, it costed us like $180 a person, dude. Ooh. And I was like, but we had already like,
right.
We didn't know going in. We'd like, surely, I think we maybe even knew like the ballpark amount. We're like, if we're providing you like 300 people, maybe you'll cut us a deal. Dude, it was like cutthroat, dude, cutthroat. And so we looked up what their scanner was, and we're like, dude, it's like affordable to go buy one of these. Like, let's just do it. So I know you remember your first challenge, dude. Our intro day, like weigh-in day, took forever, dude, because we did the tape measuring. Oh my God. So now we're like, hey, here's a schedule, book your scanning appointment, come and scan. And it's been great, dude. Like seeing the body fat percentage drop.
Oh yeah.
Like it even has like muscle mass and like free weight muscle. Dude, it just breaks down your whole body. Yeah. And you scan at the end, dude, and you can do a side-by-side comparison.
It's great.
And that's what we tell people all the time. I had this one lady, mom, awesome chick. She was like, well, I only lost 2 pounds. And I was like, well, let's go check your scan, Because she's one of those, she doesn't need a whole lot of weight loss, she's pretty fit. And I was like, but look how much your muscle-free mass dropped. I was like, you dropped 9 pounds there of fat, but you only lost 2 pounds overall. So like you really crushed
muscle,
the thing.
You lost body fat. Like you did everything you wanted to do.
And that's why the scan's important, in my opinion. Well, so I'm glad 100%. You guys have that in there.
It's a big reason. We tell people all the time. I'd worked with a lady one time who like over a number of months like had come in and she was losing body fat and gaining muscle tissue. And she had, by the end of it, she had dropped like, I want to say it was like 9.5% body fat by like, and this is months and months that we were working together. And her scale weight, the entirety of the thing had changed by 2 pounds. And it was like, she's like, this is the difference between me giving up 4 months ago and me like high-fiving strangers in Triad, right? Right. Because it's like, it's just the accurate data that at least like is allowing you to know that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. Even if the arbitrary number of gravity pulling you to the earth hasn't changed as much as you think it's supposed to, there are many many other things that can be tracked to see that you are doing everything you should be doing. You're killing it.
You're making progress.
Literally, you're doing what people don't think is possible.
And that too, like that's why another thing that we do is on that first day, there is a benchmark workout that we do. It is body weight. It is, it's not what we do on a regular basis at all, but it is to see where you're at.
Yeah.
And you take a picture of that board, you circle it, you're like, all right, 6 weeks, we're going to meet again. Right. This guy right here.
That's cool. Idea.
And then at the end, dude, and everybody just demolishes it. Yeah. Even people that have been coming on a regular basis, when it's challenge time, we do ramp it up a little bit more on the cardio side because most people are there to lose weight, not put on a ton of muscle. Sure. So, that's what we do. And the benchmark at the end, it's so cool. They're like, oh, I made it a whole line further or whatever. Right. And you're like, you lost 5 pounds. I'm pumped. I know you may be a little bummed, but like, look how much more you're able to do at the end. And you're not dying during a workout.
That's like, it's funny that you say that because I feel like it's become a big part of my focus recently, just fitness wise, is just being more well-rounded. You know what I mean? So like I've been strong as long as I've wanted to be strong. You know what I mean? Like as long as I've had the time to do it and the dedication to do it, I've been strong. And that's great. And there are certain things that are super cool that come along with that. And then it was like, ask me to go run a mile and I'm going to die. And like literally I'm going to die. And so it was a cool thing. I had a number of conversations with Vincent, one of the original owners of Triad, because that's kind of always his lifetime goal is to just be as good as he can at like everything.
Right.
But it was a really interesting thing where I realized until I really started doing jiu-jitsu, like how much of my fitness was in specific categories, like was very strong. At my peak of being strong was strong. And it's like, well, that's cool. Sure. Was I doing some things that like I was proud of? Absolutely. But again, ask me to go run or do some form of cardio and like, I'm going to keel over. And I'm at a point now, interestingly enough, where like I would trade 100 pounds off of a lift for X amount of more cardio ability.
No doubt.
And so it is cool to kind of expose people to like the long term, because, I was watching a video the other day where it was like the 2 main metrics that are like scientifically, I'm putting air quotes up, like scientifically, but like, I think it's like anecdotally shown to be the biggest markers of lifespan are waist circumference and VO2 max. It's like if you have a low waist and a high VO2 max, you live a long damn time.
I think I heard calorie intake, like total calorie intake has a big effect as well.
Well, yeah, so, that would make sense to like waist circumference. Sure. But it's like
very related.
But like one of the big ones was like VO2 max. It's like if you have a shit VO2 max, like good luck, buddy. You're not going to make it real long.
Wow. They tested that at Orange Theory before you could like join up.
VO2 max?
VO2 max.
Yeah. Because they had to get you in the right zone kind of deal.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. It's been so long since I've been there. But yeah, like that was, the technology was cool though about that. Like wearing the little, I mean, it's kind of like what before like Apple Watches were really popular, you could kind of see your calorie burn, whatever.
Oh yeah.
But like you said, it's you're strong, right? And going out and doing something that may be a little bit more on the kind of up and up on the cardio side, like may hit you a little differently.
Right.
And I'd feel, remiss if I didn't give my partner Travis Grimm a shout out. Love that guy. And I'll tell you, I think he's 43 now, but that guy has like 47 abs. And like, I will tell you
more
like,
abs than you have years in life.
If I look half as good as he does at his age, dude, like props to me, because like, but that's why we're a good dynamic, right? Like, so he likes more of that, like cardio kind of high rep stuff. And I'm kind of more like, well, let's take like 3 minutes in between our sets. And like, I want to like squat 405 and like have, that's my kind of like dream workout. Right. His is more like, I want to like make you think I woke up in a bad mood, like type of a workout.
Right.
That's what a lot of people say. After you make a workout, they're like, man, that was rude, And then mine is like, oh my God, my muscles are sore. So like, we're a good marriage together as far as like, we lift, we do cardio, we kind of do a little bit of it all. But it is funny because I actually ran a 5K at Redbud, which I know a lot of people were like, oh, 5K.
Hey, that's a big deal, dude.
But my goal was like, dude, if I could get it under 30 minutes, like all my staff is younger than me and Travis.
That is killing it.
I'm 32, almost 33. And like I said, Travis is the most in shape. But all the young employees, you know, they're around 2021. I think we got one around like 27, 28. They're like, oh, like J-Max getting last. Like for sure. Cause I'm kind of the chubby, stocky one of the staff.
Don't talk about yourself.
It's like, not anymore. Not after losing 25 pounds. But this run, I was a little bit on the sluggish side. And I said, you know what? You think I'm going to get last? Travis, how fast are you going to run this thing? He said, maybe a little north of 20 minutes. And I was like, I'm staying on your heels. If I can see you, like, I'm definitely getting under 30 and I'm not going to get last.
Yeah.
Dude, until like maybe a quarter of a mile to an eighth of a mile left, like I was right with him. He kind of looked at me and he goes, you kind of like, you good? Like, I'm going to go finish, you know? And I was like, dude, I'm so good. Like I looked down on my watch. I was like, nice. Dude, came across just north of like 21 minutes. It was like 21:40 or something like that. And I was like, bro, my goal was 30 minutes. And I'll tell you, my calves cramped like no other after that race. But I sat there in my little fold out chair with my beer as my staff crossed the finish line. And I'm like, didn't get last. Dude,
that's flying. Yeah. Man. That's fast.
Dude, I did an ab workout, an entire workout dedicated to abs with Travis one time. I think it was
mistake.
Yes, to say the least. It was a good idea going into it because I was joining for a Saturday and I done a few workouts.
I miss you doing that, by the way.
Yeah, I need to come back.
You need to come back every once in a while. We miss you.
Yeah, I'll be back on a Saturday soon. But
you heard it here first.
But Ryan, we can cut that part.
Ryan, the time was 8:07.
But yeah, I was joining on a Saturday and I had gotten my personal like normal workouts done because I've got a routine that I put together for myself and I had accomplished all those and I was like, okay, this is just kind of, you know, extra workout, you know, jumping in. And I had done an arm workout with Travis before and done like something else with him before. And he was like, hey man, he's like, you want to join in with me today? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, what do you want to hit? And I was like, I'm kind of down for whatever. Like my legs are a little sore from, you know, a day ago and like maybe not chest from the day before, but like, I was like, pretty much anything. I was like, you want to do abs? I was like, yeah, that'll work. I haven't done abs in a bit. So we did an entire
And this is
day.
where you fucked up.
Yeah, that is exactly right.
That is where I couldn't, if I laughed or sneezed, it was intense pain in my core. I have never felt that way in my core in my entire life. So, but now I have abs. So,
I mean,
that one workout. He should sell a video.
For $7.95, you can get ripped abs.
What do they got? Yeah, there's 40-minute abs.
Yeah. There you go.
If only it was that easy. And poor people, dude, they reach out for any and every solution. You know, if I pay 3 installments of $20.95, I'm gonna be looking shredded. Sadly mistaken.
But yeah. But kind of back to what I think that is one of the cooler parts about True Grit is that you guys do yin and yang each other very well into kind of creating a very cool dynamic of well-rounded fitness where it's like you're strong. And that is, you know, kind of something that again has kind of become my goal. Like I have, Vincent and I, again, were kind of talking the other day and we're trying to think of like, what do we consider to be like a lethal combination? Like if somebody were to come and tell me all of these things, I'd be like, that dude's a fucking menace. Like, dang, you know? And dang. What we settled on was, what we are calling, what I have, Vincent doesn't know this, what I have dubbed, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, right? And the idea is like at any given moment, I want to personally be able to bench over 300 pounds, right? So that's the 3. Squat over 4.
Done.
Pull over 5, right? Run a mile in the 6s. So a sub 7-minute mile, which is a book.
I was like, you had me until you went to the mile.
I'm with you. I have to challenge myself in the place that I'm not good at, right?
Right.
So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 10 is to be able to run 10 miles nonstop at any given moment. Like if I just we're going to go run 10 miles. Okay, let's go.
Is that like, and not to cut you off, is that like any pace? And like, you're just, I'm not walking.
I think so. I think like, I think.
So you can like comfortably jog that 10 miles?
Yeah, I think.
That would be challenging.
Oh, the 10 miles is a long time because you got to think like that's well into like for the majority of people, that's well into like the almost 2 hour range.
I could get home. In 10 miles.
Yeah. Like a continuous thing. And so
have you done that?
I can bench over 3, squat over 4, pull over 5. I can run 10 miles now, and I can run the only timed mile I have was after running 2 miles, and I was running 3 miles that day, and I'd ran 2 miles, and I'm like, screw it, I'm going to just take off. So I don't know what my true 1 mile time is, but after running 2 miles and then fucking sprinting my 3rd mile, I can do it. I did it in 7:44. So we're getting there.
You're honing in on it.
Yeah.
I'm really trying, man.
I didn't realize how close you were to all that. I was like, dang, that's going to be, that would be crazy.
But if somebody came up to me and was like, yeah, I bench 340, I squat 405, I can pull, 510, I run a 620 mile, and I can run 10 miles, like at any given moment, I'd be like, fuck, like that's cool. Like that is a lethal combo.
So can we play a little game right here? Just,
who can run 10 mile faster?
No.
We did that one time.
I think
race.
I think it would be fun to let me guess your 3x4x5. Is that what it is? What did you say?
3, 4, 5, 6, 10.
3, 4, 5, 6, 10. I think that because you're a strong guy.
Wrong.
I think your bench is well over 3. I'm gonna say,
and this has to be, and the caveat to this is has to be at any given moment. It's not
not you're training for it. Totally get that.
And not like my 1 rep max one time was this.
Okay, so we'll even go like sets of like 2 or 3 then. Like I think you're easily, for like we said, we weren't doing 1 rep, but I mean, I think you could play around with 315 on bench. Not to say that it isn't. What I mean by that is like. Not one time at Bandcamp 2 years ago. Yeah, exactly. I got you.
4 years ago, I benched blah, blah, blah. Right. It's like that I don't think counts. It has to be at like, if we were to go to the gym tomorrow, I could do all of these things.
380 on bench.
That would be high. I'd be under that. I would definitely be over 315, but I don't think it would be by like a ton.
And I wouldn't even pretend to guess to know your squat, but I know it's got to be up there. Like you
squat's my toughest one.
Oh really? That surprises me.
Squats are tough for tall guys.
It's because you have beautiful legs. Yeah, it's probably because they're tatted.
And I've been running, and that murders my legs. My squat right now, I think like if it working up to like into a working set would probably be in like a 440s. Okay, I would put it about there.
And then, so like contrary to you, where my toughest would definitely be, if we're talking lifts, would be deadlift, would be my, and a lot of it is you guys can't see it, but I got Burger King hands. If you've ever seen that commercial, can't hold the Whopper, and so like even with a wrist wrap, dude, I just can't grab that bar, dude. Freaking like. It's split. It's not my legs that give out. It's the grip, man. And so
I already know.
His fingers don't touch on the other side.
I'm like, believe it or not, this is my strong hand. Like, but they're both my hands. So
he's like holding.
Yeah. I'm like, thanks,
like
Mom
Lego
and
hands.
Dad, for the exactly like Lego hands. Wow, I've never heard. That's perfect. I'm gonna start using Lego instead of Burger King hands. That's great.
I don't have to listen to this episode. I already know that's going to be the clip.
Yeah, it's absolutely it is.
Oh no!
But that's so funny because in like bench used to be my lift, but now as I'm lifting a little bit more heavy, dude, squats kind of become my thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It was actually funny. This guy, and he's got millions of followers on there, but he had kind of a, what is it called? Like a hot take or something where he was like, you can't weigh under 180 pounds and bench press 315. And I was like, don't like the stigmas. So like I went on there and I got on a scale and I made a little video and I was like, I weighed like 179 at the time. And I went out there and pumped out 5 reps at 315. Yeah. And I was like, and I tagged him and I was like, I dare you to repost this. You know what I mean? I was like, don't come after the little guy, dude. Yeah. Squatting now, granted, now I will say my squatting is cheating. I've got really bad knees from wrestling, so I like to box squat.
Sure.
At a 16-inch roughly box or so. Just because when I get down to that like apex or whatever, dude, I just really don't trust my knees.
No,
man.
I would count that for sure. Box squats are fucking tough.
But roughly 465-ish. And then, but dude, my deadlift, I've never pushed it. I don't know. I would say it's probably not. My deadlift might be less than my squat, guys, which is like
them
pretty,
damn Lego hands.
You know, it's them damn Lego hands.
Can't get all the way around the bar.
You know a funny story about benching actually? So there was a guy that came in to, I cardio killers at 1 o'clock at True Grit. It's just a workout that's different. I do a cardio workout where I can make you like a pump day. Like if you want to come lift,
I used to do that. That was a pump day I used to do.
Those are fun, dude. And like, cause whatever body part, I'll just obliterate it for you. Like it's a personal training session for $10. You can't beat it, dude.
Yeah, right.
Like, and I will like put my heart into it.
Yeah, right.
Like I want you coming back, bro, for $10.
I can vouch for that.
20 people come, that's $200 in an hour, bro.
You
I
seem
ain't
like a guy
tripping.
who puts your heart in everything.
Everything, dude. And this guy comes in, dude. He is easily like, if there was one person to make me believe in evolution, it's this guy. Like gorilla, just humongous guy, ripped, shredded. And I see him over there, and dude, he's doing 225 on the bench, sets of 10. And like he's getting it, but like he's kind of struggling towards like his 10th rep. And he's like genetic built, just like probably works for it, but not to the extent of some of the people that I see putting in work. And I was like, so what'd you think? His wife was a member at the time. I was like, what'd you think? He's like, oh yeah, I liked it. And I was like, well, why don't you sign up for a membership? You know, we got some for everybody. You don't have to do class. Like you can lift. We got 10 racks over here. Like you can do your thing. He's like, well, you know, I'm 10 gym or whatever. And I was like, I tell you what, we go 225 rep for rep. If I beat you, you sign up for a 6-month membership. He was like, done. So I mean, dude, for those of you who don't know, I'm 5'4", like 170, 175. Like he's like easily like 240, like 6'5". Like he's like, yeah, dude, all day. And I ended up beating him, dude. He signed up for a 6-month membership. He came 4 times a week. His 6 months is up. He's like, I'm out. Like, he held up.
Stuck to his word.
He held up his end of the deal, dude. And I've never been more like, that's my dude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
I know we weren't your cup of tea, but like you shook on it. And he did it.
You did it.
It was so
how
cool,
you guys
man.
have all those members. You're just going around challenging everybody to bench press competitions.
I tell you what, though, talk about the cardio thing, dude. There are guys that like, J-Mac, you want a partner? You know, like I want, and I'm like, again, you know, I'm like, no, I don't. I don't want a partner. Like I still got like 12 reps left, and they're like jumping rope, like, hey, are you ready to go? And I'm like, dude, no, like I'm dying over here.
That's like, so it's funny. One of the things that like kind of sparked a big part of this in my head was somebody we had on the podcast, Jason Edmond, who is a freak. Oh, I'm actually wearing,
I was going to say,
I'm wearing the hoodie. He actually gave me this. This is the hoodie for his gym, Black Flag Jiu-Jitsu in Mustang. Jason Edmond is a freak, right? So I feel like these numbers are just like, they keep getting crazy. You want to hear this? This is important.
Okay,
we can take a quick break.
No, I'll hold it.
No, go pee.
Okay,
Jordan.
I am drinking a gallon of water a day. I have to pee.
Elevator music. Four out of 10.
Yeah, honestly, that feels gracious.
Yeah. It's only because we're friends. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing really well. The golf simulator's dope.
Yeah.
We for anybody who hasn't seen, we have Alyssa hooked up the warehouse with a full-blown golf simulator, and it's about the coolest dang thing we've got going right now, to be honest.
I'm surprised I've gotten anything done.
Yeah, well, it's cool to have it like just within arm's reach to just kind of like, you know, mess around with it, and then, you know, there'll be times where I'm sure we get to like dedicate some more time to it, which will be cool.
It is nice. Yeah, just hit a few balls, get back to work.
Yeah, right. Like not making anything. But it'll be like one day we'll like play.
No, we'll get like a Saturday or something going. Jordan, we'll make sure you get the invite too. We'll do like a Saturday. We were still kind of getting it worked
talking about
out.
the golf simulator.
Oh yes, please.
We were still kind of working out some kinks. Like this past Saturday, we built the frame for the screen. So for those that don't know, you can buy a full-blown simulator that is multiple thousands of dollars, depending on what quality you get. Alyssa pieced this one together herself, but bought really nice parts for it. So we built the frame. So she bought a screen, but we built the frame out of PVC
DIY,
pipe.
which can save your money.
Right. And
absolutely.
The nice thing is it makes it movable too. So. But we're still kind of working out the kinks and like kind of getting everything set up, and we've got it about figured out.
So basically, Triad's offering club fittings now.
I did have someone ask it how much a monthly membership would be to use the simulator.
That's funny.
But yeah, we kind of set it up a little bit. We'll have to do like a full Saturday where we like pull the couches over, like hang out, like get a full day, like a full round in kind of deal.
Like if you lose the hole, you owe like 100 push-ups. Like maybe not through 18 holes. Maybe we'll play 9. Confident at my golf game, I won't be doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch you do 900 push-ups.
After watching me on that simulator,
but back to what we were talking about before.
Jason Edmond.
Yeah, this stuff of legend, these numbers. Jason Edmond is just a freak physically.
I saw you get it. His full neck tattooed, like his neck covered. He already looked scary.
Yeah. He's the nicest guy.
Extremely.
That's tough.
The nicest guy.
His story was crazy. His episode was crazy.
Worth a listen if anybody hasn't listened to it. He's gone through some great, like relearned how to walk and is like it's competing in jiu-jitsu.
So
right now.
what is he? Is he like
black belt in jiu-jitsu, owns a jiu-jitsu gym, and that's what him and his family are doing.
So
right
badass naturally.
Oh yeah, but he this was like at his peak before he like had some issues, but was like in one day the whole thing was like bench over 5, squat over 6, pull over 7. Then he could run a 6-minute mile and then could roll for like in jiu-jitsu for like 45 straight minutes.
And he's like, I'm warm now.
Yeah.
And he's that's
like,
crazy.
And he was like, he's like 6'1", 6'2", about 260 pounds. And it's like that.
So he's a problem.
Yeah. Just he is a menace, right? And the nicest. And that's like one of the things too that like I've gained a real appreciation for, because like I've never ran in my life until the last like couple months, and I've really started like I run a lot now, and that being that fast at that size is like mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like my 740 mile is fine. At 255 pounds that I am, like it's a little better.
That's
you know
great.
what I mean? But it's like for him to do, yep, I run a freaking, I run a 550 mile. You're like, like people, anybody who's never done that doesn't actually understand how fast that is. Like if you were to go run like a 40-yard dash, it would be slightly slower than what you're doing for that 40-yard dash, but for a mile.
Yeah.
Like how fast I could run to my car right now is probably like a 6-minute mile, like factored out.
Dude, that dude should maybe hit some open tryouts. I don't know what sport, but like just whichever.
Yeah, dude, crazy story. Yeah, he like literally last year, had like all sorts of issues and lost the ability to like walk and relearned how to walk and is back doing all that crazy shit already. So he was relearning how to walk, and like 6 months later, him and I were rolling at like Black Flag at like 100%.
And you know what? That shows so much about someone's, their drive and their, like I said, it's one of my favorite words, the grit. I mean,
Well, one of the things that he says is like if he wouldn't have been in that shape, he'd be dead.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like his body would not have been able to like overcome what that is. Like if he wasn't as physically 1% of the 1% of the 1% when it comes to that stuff.
Oh, and don't get it twisted. To everybody listening, I'm a firm believer in that preventative maintenance, bro. And I'm not saying you got to be like David Goggins or whatever, but like, dude, if you're taking care of yourself when shit hits the fan, dude, if your body is equipped to handle it, dude, it's going to handle it. And I know there's anomalies and, crazy things like that. But for the most part, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, your body's going to do what it's supposed to be doing.
Oh yeah.
Hands down. And I don't, like I said, I haven't met him, or at least I don't think, as far as like bumping in to him or anything like that. But
he'd be the scariest person you've ever met.
Yeah. And yeah, the person who comes when I'm having a nightmare. No, like I've never met him, but sounds like a nice guy. I may have to come and try the jiu-jitsu place out.
Literally, he is the kind of guy who, like, he comes into Triad and he's like, "Hey, Thomas, like, dude, it was so good talking to you, man. I love you, brother. I actually brought you a present." And I'm like, "Oh my God."
So nice.
You're so nice. I love you. He's the best. Big fan of Jason.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is, been an interesting thing, because now, like, for me, I have like completely shifted my focus when it comes to a lot of my workouts. And don't get me wrong, like, a lot of this fitness that I have does not come from my recent running. It comes from like years of jiu-jitsu, which I wear a heart monitor for jiu-jitsu, and it's like, you just like don't realize, but doing jiu-jitsu classes, I'll go an hour and a half to 2 hours typically for jiu-jitsu classes. And I will average like a 155 heart rate for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's like, that is pushing fitness levels for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so it was funny. My goal was to be able to like run 4 miles nonstop within by my bachelor party, which funny enough is in June. And I was able to do that like my second run. And I was like,
hell yeah, dude.
I was just running way too fucking hard. Turns out that's a thing. But yeah, but it is cool. Like, kind of getting back to you guys though, is you do provide that level of like well-rounded fitness that like you like, if like 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 was a challenge, I think you'd have more people knocking at the door of that from True Grit than you think.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, you see the animals in there on a day-to-day basis, but you also you have the people that are there in more of a mild manner, and that's what's so beautiful about it, dude, is you can have literally the two in the exact same class, and you have the room and the space to like do what you want to do, man. And dude, it is funny though, because like we literally have people 75 plus, and then we have guys in there that are tatted out, taking their shirts off, and like we
Kevin.
have both. Yeah, it's like, exactly, Kevin.
Yeah, dude, those workouts are it's not to be understated how fun they are, actually. Man.
Thanks,
like,
man.
It especially coming from somebody that my general training style is definitely more in the realm of bodybuilding. Like that's the realm that I enjoy. I enjoy putting effort in, seeing what the result is, and this and that. I did actually do, when I was doing, it was either Saturday or Sunday, every single week at True Grit. It was during my last competition prep in 2019. It was part of I wasn't doing a ton of cardio, but I got up to max about 20 minutes a day, which is relative to like other preps is quite a bit less. But I would do a True Grit class. I was like, whatever it is, I'm going to do one every single weekend, not on a workout day, like not on a lifting day, but I'm going to go do a class, like, or at least on my lifting days. I'm going to go do a class, and whatever it is, I'll do it. And some of my favorite ones were when it was a giant circuit of just, it's like, it's going to take you 10, 15 minutes to get through a circuit one time, and you're only going to do it 2 or 3 times. Because you could kind of see like the other people around you, like some people like, on the run taking off really fast. You're like, all right, like I'm going to start slow, but I'm going to catch them. And like, you're working and you see someone next or like someone just in front of you and you're like, I got to pass them. And, you get in front of them, but then someone else behind you, like, starts to pass you and you're like, what the heck? Like, you got to get going a little faster. I think that's at least my personal competitive nature. But like, you can kind of see where you fall into place. And it's like, it's the beginners that are, the first time mom that's passing me on the, in the race. I definitely didn't always finish first, but just, having those people around you and that competitiveness, man, was always a ton of fun, man. It's like, and then you get to the end of it and as competitive as you are, like in the workout of like trying to like beat other people, man, you get to the end of it and you're like, dang, dude, like you just beat me. Like there's camaraderie to it all. So
it is funny that you say that as far as the, thank you. As far as the competitive juices go, because 99.9% of the time, as far as like the workouts go, like I told you, there's, you know, the cardio beast guys. Like that's not my cup of tea per se. And if there's a workout, dude, I consider myself victory if I finish half of what we programmed for 45 minutes, because I'm gonna lift something heavy and try to really, like, I like to burn my calories that way, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But like I said, the benchmark workout, right, that we do before and at the end of every challenge, we don't do it really unless it's that, because it sucks that bad. And when it comes around, though, I'm not to toot my own horn, but I'm definitely one of the ones that has the target on their back during a class, because I'm like, hey guys, this is because it's not like, it's always harder when you don't know how many you have to do for like an extended amount of time. If I know the reps, I'm like, I know it's going to suck for X amount of time. But once I knock out the reps, I'm done and I get to go to the next thing. Yeah. That's easy. If it's like, hey dude, you've got burpees for 5 minutes, like who can do the most? Like I'm getting last place, 1,000%. But it's like, hey, who can do 100 the fastest? Like I might win, because I'm like, I know it's 100.
Right.
Dude, and I don't know, it's so weird how my mind works like that. I'm like, or my coach, dude, in college wrestling, oh my God, he'd be like, hey, we got sprints. We're like, how many? He's like, don't ask. And we're like, shit, you know, I'd rather do 40 and know I have 40 than do 10 and not know how many I have.
Dude, there's a legitimate
3,000%.
There's a legitimate, I think there's legitimate science behind that, though, which I don't think anybody would necessarily argue, but there was an experiment with, this was decades ago, but it was, and I'm going to butcher exactly how it was done, but it was they essentially put a mouse in a like,
sounds made up.
You don't got to do that.
Can you cite your sources, please?
Yeah. We'll need your works cited paper after this.
You know I can't. So they put a mouse in a like a big cup of water, and it treads water, and on average the mouse would tread water. Like they did this with like a number of different mice. And the mice would tread water for an average of like 5 minutes. But then it would when it would start to sink, they would grab it and pull it out of the water. But then when they put the mouse back in the water, the mouse could tread water for like an hour plus, because it was something mental of like, when they tread water for, you know, a few minutes, it's like, I don't see a way out of this. Like, what's the point of putting effort in?
Right. But it's like waiting for something to grab it now.
But if it knows something's going to grab it, it knows there's a way out. It has that motivation and is able to keep treading water. Yeah. Wow. It was like it was exponentially different. It wasn't a difference of like, 10% or whatever. It was like 10 times longer.
Have you ever,
it's really moving.
Have you ever?
You should get a tattoo of a mouse in a bucket.
I might have one.
You have room, I think.
I got a whole other leg.
That's right. Your mouse bucket leg.
Do you think I could do the whole leg?
Just a bucket?
Like maybe 3 blind mice themed, maybe?
Oh,
I think your tattoo artist could work with that.
I was going to say, if I give this to Zach, I bet he could make it look cool.
Zach would be like, this is the lamest fucking idea I've ever heard. 3 blind mice leg? Get out of here, Kevin. Not letting you brush my genitals anymore.
I thought he was going to cite his source. I thought he was going, have you guys ever seen the movie Catch Me If You Can?
I was literally thinking the same thing.
3 mouse churned the butter into cream and they climbed out. I was like,
the cream into butter, he climbed out.
I was like, that's not science, Kevin.
That's so beautiful.
That is Leonardo DiCaprio's prayer in Catch Me If You Can.
It really
underrated movie. It's been forever since I've seen it. But
great movie.
Yeah,
it is a great movie.
You know, we should watch it, guys, tonight. We should just turn it on
right now in the middle of the podcast.
We should just turn the camera towards the TV.
We just watch
the rest of this podcast is just us watching.
Talk about
us and the listener all watching a movie together.
Like just us, Leo, and Tom Hanks.
I bet there are people on YouTube that like come watch a movie with me.
Yeah,
and it's just
them like 3 million subscribers. Yeah. You're like, why?
There's weird stuff like that. Like people that are like, watch me smush this. They're like, break this Xbox.
What kind of weird?
Like,
watch me smush.
No, watch me like it'll be like, dude. There was a guy that would like. he would like take like an Xbox and like put a piece of bologna in it, and then he would like put it in the oven, and they would take it out and like smash it with a hammer, and then pour like hot fudge on it. And it was like this weird
something. I know what you're talking about.
And
it's just like people watch this crap.
And it was like, I remember looking at the views, and it was like in the millions.
I was talking to our barber the other day, Max, and he was talking about there's this like
Annex. Mm-hmm. Nice.
You go to the Annex too?
So I used to go to Annex, and the only reason is my schedule got a little funky, and I'm one of those where like it has to be like when I need it, and they are so awesome.
Oh yeah,
and like it has nothing to do with that at all. Like Kenny was mine actually. Kenny's freaking dope, dude. Yeah. Never got my hair cut by Max, but Kenny was the man, dude, and he was like always booked because I'm a procrastinator. So like, I'm like, hey, I need my haircut tomorrow. Like, definitely can't get into Kenny like that, dude.
I have to schedule 2 months out with Max.
Exactly,
now.
Dude.
It's gonna be so way back.
My new barber, he's pretty cool though. His name's JD, dude, I love it because like it's probably not like the day before, but like I can definitely get in a few days prior because my schedule will be up. I got to be like up at 3:45. I'm at the gym at 4:30 in the morning. So like. Normally like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock when people can't get their haircut is like kind of when I'm open. Yeah. So like I'm always down to be like, like on a Thursday randomly at like 9:45, like I'm your guy, you know, right. Like, so it's good to pop in there. But he's pretty dope, dude.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, so I was talking to Max, and I guess there's a YouTube kid is like toys with Ryan or something like that, and it's like this kid who literally just plays the toys and like reviews like what he likes about the toys and what he doesn't like about the toys, and that turned into him like making a line of toys or whatever. And we were talking to like. I was sitting waiting for my turn, and he was talking to this guy, and like Max kind of was like, Thomas, you've heard of this, right? And we all kind of like started talking about it. And Max like pulled his phone out and looked, and this kid's worth like $400 million now.
Oh my
And all he does is like
just reviews toys.
Yeah, he's like 12 now or something like that.
Jeez,
and like
dude.
that's it. It's just because his parents just set up a freaking phone, and like
YouTube is a wild place.
Kind of like Tom Hanks and Big.
Yeah,
all he has, he's a 12-year-old.
Second Tom Hanks reference.
Come on, dude.
Oh my god, dude! Like this podcast will be a castaway from the other ones.
Way to throw that in there! Wow,
man, Tom Hanks, right, guys? Oh my god!
I mean, Tom Hanks, dude, is some of the best movies of all time. I mean, come on, Forrest Gump, dude.
Ooh, so good.
Jenny, you know.
Speaking of movies, I have a proud fiance moment that not everybody will appreciate, but the ones who do appreciate will appreciate it to the level I do. Is Laurel sat through and watched and got into all 3 Lord of the Rings extended edition.
Ooh, extended edition.
We're talking almost 4 hours per movie. We watched
all a half a day worth of movies. Was this all one sitting? Or?
No.
Okay.
I would love to go through the Lord of the Rings movies again.
It's phenomenal. And the extended edition, if anybody doesn't know, is the way to do it. They're all on Max right now, so you can watch them if you have that subscription. But the extended edition, and because she is the love of my life, she was like, so are we going to start The Hobbit now? And started watching The Hobbit, dude. It's so funny because I have watched and read the books and done all of it like countless times. So I'm like sitting there like explaining to her, like, you know, at the end of Return of the King, when Gimli's like, I'm going to die next to an elf. And then Legolas is like, what about next to a friend? I'm like, this is a big deal because the elves turned their back on the dwarves. And like, I'm crying, like literal tears. And she's like, why am I marrying you?
Dude, I had this was my 5th grade English teacher. It was a good teacher overall, but his favorite part of the curriculum was Lord of the Rings. He got to go over, we read The Hobbit. Mm-hmm. And he was a mega fan.
Oh yeah.
And he explained like all like like, dude, there was probably like a week's worth of curriculum just pre-Hobbit.
Right. Because there's like, that's what a lot of people don't know.
No shit. Like in your curriculum? Like you just was like diving into it, dude?
So it was part of like what he was supposed to teach was like, we read the Hobbit and, we go over it together as a class kind of
But
deal.
you could tell like his switch flipped when he was like excited about it, right?
But he was a genuine nerd for it.
Yeah.
And it was like, it made it really cool to really get into it.
Well, you have like what people don't realize a lot of the time is like you obviously have like the 3 Lord of the Rings books, you have the Hobbit book, but then there's like 5 or so other books that are all pre-Hobbit that just kind of go over like the history of everything. And and her being her normal self was pretty funny because she's a big Harry Potter fan. So she kept comparing like Harry Potter characters to Lord of the Rings characters, which was funny. So she settled on everyone in Lord of the Rings could beat up their counterpart in Harry Potter, except Harry would beat the shit out of Frodo. And I was
would say that probably.
And I was like, you need to read the books and you appreciate Frodo more. But it's like, but I was like, movie Frodo is kind of like, he could get beat up for sure. Harry would probably take him. Yeah. But then she was like, Gandalf versus Dumbledore. And I'm like, we're just not even going to have this conversation because like somebody's going to get their feelings hurt.
Yeah. It's funny. That was the same actor in both, wasn't it?
No, they just look alike, but they look a lot alike, but it's just similar character builds and everything. But it's like, but I'm like, you go sit here and tell me Dumbledore can take Gandalf the Great, let alone Gandalf the White. You think he can take Gandalf the Great? Gandalf the White? Please, dude. Dude, Dumbledore would be getting smushed out there.
Yeah, I think that's a first round KO for sure, if you ask me.
Dude, low difficulty takes him. But anyway, I digress. This was, when you're in a relationship, and you guys both understand this, there are moments you re-fall in love with somebody, and sitting there listening to her get excited and really rooting, like you could see the tears in her eyes at the end of Return of the King when they're bowing to Aragorn and he's like, you bow to no one, and the whole kingdom bows to them, and you're like, woo, and she's like, and I'm like, yeah,
we just connected.
Like, you don't even understand, they're hobbits, they're low folk.
Like we just connected on a whole nother level. She doesn't even realize it at the time.
So in love all over again.
So like that type of thing, if you had your choosing, would you rather watch them in the order they were released, or would you rather watch them in like how the storyline goes, where you kind of have to piece shit in, but like you could watch it from the beginning to the end?
Question. For me personally, I appreciate watching them in theatrical release order. Right? To a newer person too, like the Tolkien lore. Right. I think watching the Hobbit movies first does give you an appreciation and an understanding for some of the characters, especially Bilbo, where like Bilbo in the Lord of the Rings is kind of just, Frodo's uncle. And you're like, okay. Right. And you don't really understand like at the end of like Return of the King when he gets to go onto the boat with like Gandalf and the elves and like go on. Like that's like the highest honor possible. And so you're kind of like, you're left a little confused if you don't necessarily understand that. I will say I did Lord of the Rings first with her because I wasn't convinced we were going to get through the second trilogy. So I was like, if I'm going to watch one of them through right now, it's going to be Lord of the Rings.
Right.
And like, I can watch The Hobbit on my own or whatever. So really we should have started her with The Hobbit, but I wasn't betting on that we were ever going to get to The Hobbit like we have.
Which is an understandable gamble. Right. I mean, honestly.
Right. And so it's kind of like, cause then you understand, Smeagol Gollum, and you understand Bilbo, you understand Gandalf, you understand kind of the history of why dwarves and elves don't necessarily get along, and like you start meeting characters that play big roles later on into the Lord of the Rings. This is the best podcast we've ever done.
I am loving this podcast. in kind of what you said as far as, so I have my 2 cents on it, right? So and I don't want people to think I'm a huge Star Wars fan because I'm not, but like definitely like I grew up 1991 is when I was born. Like we were around, bro. Yeah. Like we were around when that
we
shit was
watched
hot,
those
dude.
on VH, the first 3 on VHS before anything else was released.
When do you turn 30? How old are you?
I turned 33 on April 25th.
You're older than me.
I'm the grandpa of the group.
Oh my gosh. I'm June 25th. I'll be 33.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, it's nice to be around people my age, but who are also older.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm so hip.
I got to be honest. When I get ID'd in restaurants, I'm excited. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Like
we were making fun of Thomas last time for being the oldest one of the podcasts.
Well, now you're not anymore, so it's great.
Yeah.
But
I'm a young buck.
If I had to pick between watching
31,
Kevin was like, yeah, I'm 30. I'm like, what? I'm like, I remember that. I remember those good old days.
How cute.
Ramsey's who's 14's listen to this is like
Ramsey's 8. I didn't realize that till the other day that he is actually 8 years old. He was born in 2016 or whatever.
Sorry to not cut
that
you
is
15.
We've got an employee that we hired as I think he's either 17 or 18, and it is just
hilarious,
crazy,
dude. It is weird though, because like I remember being like 30 years old, and now I'm like 30 is a spring chicken.
Yep. Yeah.
And there's people in the gym that come in, they're like, I'm like, oh, you got to be like super young, like 16 to 18, maybe 19 or 20, but you're pushing it. They're like, oh, like I'm 26, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm old. Because it's like obvious that I'm older than that person. But I will say,
have you met a 15-year-old recently?
Met? No.
Yeah, you'll notice.
Yeah. That they look like they're 12. Yeah, you're like
they look like they're 6.
Yeah, exactly. But the last time I watched Star Wars, if I could pick, I would like to watch it in the order that like am I using that right? Chronologically?
Yeah.
Like from the start of the story,
right?
I'm doing quotations, to the end of the story. But the problem is, at the start of the story, the graphics are badass, and you get halfway through and there's cardboard in the background.
Yeah,
you're like, wait a second, that doesn't add up.
I kind of lose it.
And that's kind of where I lose it.
I think there's a big gap in the Star Wars trilogy, though, where Lord of the Rings is a little bit closer to Lord of the Rings and Hobbit's a little closer.
Yeah, they all kind of came out like bang, 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 where Star Wars wasn't like that.
There was a 10-year gap. 10 years.
Yeah. Really? Was it 10 years?
It was 10 years.
But Star Wars was like 30 or 40, right?
Yeah. It was a long time. Yeah. The maybe not, probably 35-ish, but like Lord of the Fellowship of the Ring came out in like 2003, and then Hobbit, the first Hobbit, what is it called? I'm watching it right now. I can't even think what it's called.
Hobbit 1 and 2.
Hobbit 1. That's right. But that one came out in 2013, which is still crazy. That movie's like 13 years old, and the other ones are like 23 years old or whatever, or 21 years old. But you honestly rewatching them, they special effects holds up. It holds up pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah, for being like an early 2000 movie, so special effects like definitely holds up well.
Dude, things like that get me sometimes where I'm like, oh yeah, like let's rewatch this movie that just came out recently. Or like this movie came out in 2006. And I'm like, wait a second. That was over a decade ago.
Yeah.
Like, what the how did that come out in 2006?
Yeah, right. So weird.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it in theaters. Like, oh wait,
that hurts my heart sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like,
I realize how long it was ago that like the Avatars came out. Like I remember like being pumped for
that. Was like 2-3 years ago, right?
Yeah. just the other day.
I'm afraid to look and see when they came out, but I know that it's been a minute. Are we looking it up?
Talk amongst yourselves.
Let's take a guess before he looks it up. I'm gonna say
the first Avatar movie.
The first Avatar. I'm gonna say 2010. I could totally be.
I think you're right. I think I remember it coming out late high school, which is crazy to think about. That was 14 years ago. If that's right. When was it?
Well, that would be. It's 2024.
Yeah, if it came out in 2010.
Right. Yeah, it came out in. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready? 2009. Good guess.
Oh, I was close.
So
Senior
15
high school.
years ago, someone that was born the same year is now got their driver's permit.
Yeah, that's bizarre, dude.
Well, that's the thing is like, I remember like I'm talking to Laurel about these and I'm like, I remember going to see with my friend Matt and his dad Frank, the IMAX in Branson, Missouri. We went and saw Lord of the Rings 2 Towers.
I bet that was cool.
Oh boy. It's still rustles my jammies thinking about it. Like, it's been a long time and I'm still fully engaged in that.
Dude, have you talked to Dennis Sheffield much?
I hate Dennis Sheffield. No. Just kidding. No, I haven't seen him in a minute. I love Dennis.
Dude, that dude, I didn't realize people got to be that big of just generally like movie fans, but that dude will travel to like Dallas to go watch movies in the IMAX. He's talked about going to New York because it's the IMAX of all IMAX theaters.
Well, apparently there's like levels to this.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Where there's there's the what we hear as the IMAX, and that's like, that ain't shit. That's not the real IMAX.
Which is like you're paying for like 4D or whatever. It's really not that much.
Yeah, and it's like a bigger screen, but it's like, then there's like legitimate IMAX, which is like, there's like 50 of them across the country or something like that.
Like your seats vibrate when they yell.
Well,
like you like feel it.
Well, apparently it's like what we're used to seeing, like the IMAX screen. Totally making this up, but it's like the IMAX screen is like 4 times the size or something like that. And it's like, there was a big thing when like Oppenheimer was coming out where it was like, you need to see this in true legitimate IMAX, not like what you think of as IMAX, but like the actual IMAX thing. And it's like, so that makes sense. Dennis seems like the kind of guy who would do that.
Do you remember that when we were like going to movies though, kind of growing up, that the 3D with the goggles was kind of the rage, and I was actually like more pissed after I came out. Like, that was kind of a pain in my ass. Like, I should have just watched the regular.
The first Avatar was the one that I felt like did it the right way for the first
Absolutely.
time. Because they did like so many movies before that was like stuff coming out at you.
It was just blue and red. Like, that's just what you saw.
Yeah, it was just lame. Where like Avatar, what they did that was like really genius to the idea of 3D was, as opposed to the items that you're looking at coming out at you, they made the peripheral of like the thing come out at you, which just added depth to the movie. So it was like,
it's like you were coming towards it rather than it coming towards you.
Right. It was like, it wasn't the characters themselves that were in 3D. It was the plants in the jungle around it that were coming out. And that gave you like this, like this forefront. And then the characters were further set back. And it allowed you to feel more immersed into it.
That was more of those tinted glasses at that point, right?
Because there was like right before that, I remember seeing like my first movie in 3D. And it was like Piranha 3D. And the like only like moment in the whole movie that was 3D was this girl took her shirt off and her boobies were in 3D. And like her boobies came out.
So it was the unrated version, I guess.
If you got to pick one scene.
Boy, 16-year-old Thomas was a big fan of 3D at the moment.
What movie was that? Did you say?
Piranha 3D. I've got it. I own the DVD. I'll send it to you. I'll let you borrow it.
Can I borrow your goggles or your glasses?
Yeah, did that come with the DVD case? Had it sold separately?
So funny. But that was like the first, not Piranha 3D, but like I feel like Avatar was the first movie to like do it right, where it like immersed you into it. And that's why it felt so, that's why it was, I feel like, such a groundbreaking movie. Like the story is like a retold story from other movies, but it in like other stories or whatever, which is like normal. You see that a lot.
Right.
But it was like their way of immersing you within this through the 3D was like the best 3D experience to date. I still feel like I haven't watched a 3D movie that I enjoyed more than watching the first Avatar.
You guys watch there's 2 now, right?
3.
Holy crap.
Is there 3 Avatars?
Pretty sure.
I know there was
just 2.
There's
just kidding.
There's
Way
the
of
water one.
Yeah, Way of Water.
So there's 2.
You could have convinced me that there was 3.
Yeah, there's 2. The second
There's
one's
actually 14, and you missed them all.
Yeah, we're keeping up.
So AMC. So you guys are like, I know that he's relatively, I say new, but 2015. But you're not from around here either.
No. I came after him. Yeah.
Okay, so
2016.
I remember when that Quill Springs Mall got like the upgraded movie theater, bro. It was a big deal, man.
Yeah, dude.
And so that little entry right behind, you guys are familiar where you buy your tickets, like right in the food court.
Yep.
So you go back, and I haven't watched
Best
a movie
setup for
there.
a movie, by the way.
Oh yeah, food court right in there.
Food court walk.
You don't got to spend the money.
Have you been to Quill Springs to do that? That's the best. Because you don't have to buy theater food.
Right. dude, because
you go to Charlie's Cheesesteaks,
bro. Yeah. It's a good food. Do they have a nutrition spot in there now? Like where you can get like shakes and like teas and like a
I'm going to Chick-fil-A,
salad
but whatever.
Sandwich. Chick-fil-A all the way every day.
Charlie's Cheesesteaks, and I'm like,
but they had this like, and like I said, I don't know if they still have it or not. Like an echo room right behind the tickets. Like, so the dome, like if you like yelled in there, like it echoed. Ooh. And this was when Tarzan was coming out. So I know this was a hot minute ago. I was definitely like a child.
We talking cartoon or Brendan Fraser Tarzan?
Cartoon. And they had a free t-shirt and a refunded movie ticket for your whole group if you won the Tarzan, like, and of course, my mom's like, "You're doing it." You know what I mean? And I'm like,
"Get us that money back, baby."
I'm like, "Yeah." It was one of those where like I was 16, she's like, "You're 12 for the kids menu," because I could pass, you know. But like I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm down." And like all these people were like, you know, and I get up there and I'm like, I look at my mom and wink. I'm like, it's in the bag, bro. Like they gave my whole family t-shirts, like free tickets, dude. I'm like, I'm like, not a problem.
Honestly,
man.
Could you reenact this?
I could. I bring the mic away a little bit for it.
We'll go to
dude, that was. I couldn't beat that.
That was pretty. Yeah, I won't even try.
Yeah.
So.
Ryan's
free
like,
t-shirts,
you broke all the equipment.
And free movie tickets.
You're giving me ideas, maybe a little unrelated, but next sample triad, a Tarzan competition.
Gets a free beef stick.
Yeah, I'm down.
I'm going to show up. Just tell me the date and time because beef sticks are mine.
I love this. We're going to do this, and like half the people are going to be like, who the fuck is Tarzan?
Dude,
show your age.
That's some shit Ramsey would say.
Yeah.
Right, dude.
It's like, you know, the king of the jungle.
Is there not a new Tarzan?
Not like a relatively new one. I don't feel like. Like Ramsey has not seen Castaway. Ramsey's probably not seen Lord of the Rings.
So Ramsey doesn't know who Wilson is from Castaway.
He probably doesn't even know what Castaway is.
Yeah. Like he would be like, huh?
Yeah.
We'd be like, what did you
like? Doesn't know what MySpace is either. I'm sure.
Oh no.
That may have gone like out of it before he was even around.
Oh yeah, literally before he was born, probably.
Talk about a blast from the past. Wow, that's a curve off the
also learning how to Hotmail code
bro.
So that we could have like our little music player on MySpace.
It was so funny about MySpace, dude, was the top friends. I remember if someone would take me off theirs, I would so
Facebook
pettily like, I'm taking you off mine too.
Tough.
You're not on my top 6. I was always so stressed about like what song to put on there. Are you guys too young for MySpace? You guys did it, didn't you?
No, I'm your age.
I had a MySpace, but big thing to keep in mind here is that I was not supposed to. Like I wasn't allowed. My parents were
sketchy.
Yeah, my parents were real big on like if you put it on the internet, anybody can use it.
Right.
Like it's there forever. People can do whatever they want with the photos.
Oh, that's right.
And so like I wasn't like I made a MySpace at my friend's house one time.
You dirty dog.
Oh my
dude,
God.
I was a bad kid.
Dude. Tim Wilhite would
totally
not have put up with that.
The sad thing is my parents listen to this. So
shout out to Mom and Pop.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, they're gonna call you and be like, Kevin. We are so disappointed. That was, I would love to, because apparently, you know, MySpace is still like server is still alive. So you can technically go back and look up your old MySpace.
The archives.
Can we talk about maybe, I think this would be a fun topic. Maybe the most like the most interesting story where your parents were like disappointed in you growing up, because I have my story bar none.
Dude, I already have.
Yeah, I've got mine too.
Kevin, why don't we start with you?
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah, it's
gonna be
redirected
lame.
at you.
I'm going to be at least a little self-conscious, but I'm going to put it out there because, again, I know my parents typically listen. Fingers crossed I maybe not listen to this one.
Right.
This was spring break, my senior year of high school. I didn't do much. I was just in town hanging out with friends. But the very last night of spring break, the last Saturday night of spring break, I went to a big party, one of the, the guy's house that like his parents like didn't really care if he had parties kind of deal. Went over there. Everybody in my grade was there. And I had a handle of Old Crow whiskey.
Nice.
That I'm pretty sure I bought like at the beginning of spring break and just hadn't finished kind of deal.
It aged well.
A handle like Old Crow is not the worst. No wonder you've never wanted to drink Old Crow.
And I can remember someone being like, dude, it's the end of spring break. You gotta finish it. And that's where I fucked up.
Yeah.
It was all the arm twisting you needed at that point.
So I got a ride home from somebody. I thought I was being slick and sneaking in, after everybody went to bed, getting up and getting in my room and going to sleep and whatnot. It turns out that I dropped my wallet in the driveway.
Nice.
Took my pants off in the garage.
Nice.
And puked in the sink.
Perfect. Yeah.
I don't know how my parents knew that I was drunk, but
it's like if it wasn't the third sign, it was the second or the first.
It's funny. I lived with Kevin for a long time. That's all pretty normal stuff for you.
That's a Thursday night.
Yeah, that's Kevin through and through.
That's the key is if you do that every night, they don't know when you're drunk.
Perfect.
Dude, genius.
Kids out there, that's how you get away with it.
But there was a big talk in the morning. I was so hungover, but big talk in the morning. My parents nervous about me, and there was like, I think it was a moment in my life where I was like not at home a lot. Like I was like starting to like just hang out with friends, stay over with friends, and be out like a lot. So they were nervous, and they definitely were worried that it was more than just drinking. And luckily it only was. But
your crack addiction started later in life.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. But they at least prolonged it.
Yeah,
right.
But I was pretty dead set on convincing them that I had not drank that much. I don't think that I knew that they knew that I had like taken my pants off in the garage at the moment.
They're like, Kevin, there was an empty handle of Old Crow like in the living room. What are you talking about?
But I was dead set on trying to convince them that I hadn't drank that much and I wasn't that hungover. So I went and worked out. That was the most terrible time at the gym I've ever had in my life. I don't think I actually did anything. I just like went there and like sat on a bench and I was like,
just laid down outside.
I showed them.
Just kind of felt sorry for yourself for about an hour.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Yeah.
My story also has to do with drinking. Funny enough.
Oh, mine too. Interesting how that works.
It was my freshman year of high school, and my buddy Ty Gideon was having some friends over. He lived down the street, and I had told my mom that I was going to stay the night at Ty Gideon's house and whatever. Went down there. We started drinking vodka shots. Always a solid idea when you're 14 years old. And I was very drunk. And what I remember from this is running around the house like in socks, and they had like a tile floor, like a hard tile, like stone floor. I drunkenly slipped and fell and chipped my 2 front teeth in half. Yeah, like in half and half.
Those so not even like a little bit.
Half of my front teeth are fake.
Gosh.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know if I've ever told this story.
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah, this is
crazy.
I was 14.
Lovely.
Right? I chipped my 2 front teeth in half, barfing all night. Wake up in the morning, not even like really realizing what happened. Look in the mirror and like, oh my God, I literally chipped my 2 front teeth in half. Like crazy, right? So I get up the next morning, I go home, right? And I go in and I somehow convinced my mom that I had gotten food poisoning or something, and that I had slipped and fell on my way to the toilet and hit my head on the toilet and cracked, like split, like chipped my 2 front teeth in half on the toilet. Oh my gosh, they feel so bad for me. I'm like, I've got this sold, right? So Unfortunately, the next day, one of the kids at the party decides to tell my sister what actually happened. And my sister is a no good tattletale, right? That needs to be established right now. And goes and tells my mom that I, in fact, was a shit-faced drunk and fell on a tile floor, chipping my 2 front teeth in half. So as punishment, my mom put off my dentist appointment to get my teeth fixed for a week. And I had to go to school that whole week with my 2 front teeth chipped in half.
Honestly, I feel like that's a pretty solid punishment, to be honest.
Oh yeah. Like, I had to go to school for a whole week with my 2 front teeth chipped in fucking half.
Props to your mom. That's pretty savage.
Yeah. It was
how was school that week?
Not great. Not a great time to be.
Did you
You're
get
14 and like you've got acne and like you just like you're embarrassed about, everything in the world. And now my 2 front teeth are in half.
Did it make you have a lisp?
I don't think I spoke to anyone at all that entire week.
You're like, Thomas, how's your day? Oh,
I'm doing good.
Really great.
You're not eating lunch? I'm not eating lunch today.
I'm surprisingly not
I'm
hungry.
good. Yeah, I'm not hungry.
Not hungry at all, actually.
Yeah. So my front 2 teeth are half fake.
Well, they look great.
Yeah.
All right. You have a beautiful smile.
Stop.
I'm just saying.
Dude, turn this camera off. Leave it on.
Leave it on.
We'll find out what happens.
It's fine.
All right, Jordan.
My most disappointed, and keep in mind, me and my mom are best friends. My mom is...
She's awesome.
Salt of the earth.
I saw her in the store. I just happened to be dropping off a transfer. I think it was like Thursday or something, or maybe it was just this past Monday. Today's Monday. Holy shit. I saw her recently and got to talk to her for a second. She's awesome.
My mom had me at 19, single mom. And me and my dad's relationship's a lot better now.
Sure.
Wasn't in my life super like as much when I was like super young, but like I grew up with my dad. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it was kind of like week on, week off type thing with my parents, but definitely was a mama's boy for sure. And this was coming from the woman who, mind you, this was like 2 months before they left for vacation. I was like 2 minutes late for curfew because like the train came and stopped on the tracks. Like, can't get home on time. Like, this was before like cell phones and all that, really. Like, before I like really had one, And so like there was no like train picture of it, whatever. No, it's like your word versus like the clock, and I'm like, I'm late, dude. I had to write 200 sentences saying like I won't be late. Like, that was my mom, and I was grounded for 2 weeks. 1 week for a minute I was late. Okay, so like that's my mom. All right, love her to death, super strict. So my parents go to Hawaii, I believe, and it was like my birthday and like prom, like all that mixed together. And like I told a couple of friends, I'm like, hey, like, parties at my house, like my grandma staying over, like my mom and my grandma staying. Dude, my grandma was like lights out by like 8:30, dude. Like, I come home from prom and I'm like, hey, like mom said I could have a few friends over. She's like, it's fine, like she's in their room, and I'm like, hey, everybody, like we're gonna play some light music, but like keep it down. Dude, I lived on a cul-de-sac. It was like 3 blocks over, like there were cars. I guarantee you I had at least 150 people at my house. And I was like turning people away at the door. Like, dude, I've never seen you. Oh, I go to Santa Fe. I'm like, okay, well, I go to North and this is my prom. Like, I have no idea who you are, bro. Like, you're going to have to go find some, somewhere else. Like, cause it ain't here. Like, I have no idea who you are. And I wanted to have the best night, guy. It was the most miserable night. Cause I'm like, don't break this. Don't touch this. Like, I regret it so much just because of the experience, like it not being fun. And I'll never forget that. And so like, but it is funny because like out in the hot tub, like again, not gonna say who it was, but like classy girl, like in like the student council, this and that, like got her top, woo, like it's a crazy party, like what you would see. And I'm like,
this is Piranha 3D all over again.
It is. And I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. And
Jordan had his 3D there, goggles on.
And no, this girl was like mathlete, like you would not expect it. It was so strange. But like I'm obviously, like I said, I'm not enjoying any of the party. Not in the hot tub, not drinking, like breaking up fights, whatever. Like we sit down and it's like most of the people have left at this point. Like my neighbors come over. I'm like, my mom knows I have a few people over. Like it's no big deal. Like I had my grandma convinced there was like 10 people over. Like I don't know how she didn't know. Yeah. But at the end of the night, like we're laying down and like me and my best friend at the time, like we don't talk much anymore, but like we were like best buds. Like we're sitting on the edge of my bed, and I'm like, dude, tonight sucks. Like, I really didn't have a good time. And he's like, but I saved some champagne for you, you know? And I'm like, oh, thanks, dude. He goes to like open it up. Yeah. He's like, long, hard night. Like you hosted the party. Like you did it, you know, like you haven't drank. So just relax. Like you only have like 15 people here. You have to clear out in the morning. Like you're good. Like we're going to clean it up. It's going to be great. He opens the top and it pops off in my eye. Like instantly swells up, dude. It's black. So like the next day, like my parents get home, like me and everybody, like we checked every crevice, bro. The house was spotless, nothing. And my mom was like, well, how'd you get a black eye? I'm like, oh, well, you know, the guys we had over, because my mom did approve like having like 4 or 5, quote 10, you know, like my good buddies over after prom. She was good with that. I was like, well, they got into it. I had to break it up, caught some crossfire, you know, like no big deal.
Hate to see it.
I was like, they're good now. We squashed it. Oh, that's good. You know, 3 months. I want that to be stressed. 3 months go by. My parents finally decide they want to take a night in the hot tub.
Uh-oh.
They take off the hot tub cover and turn off the hot tub, and a pair of panties come up out of the blow thing. And so my parents instantly go to the neighbors. They're like, what is this? They're like, oh, well, Jordan said you knew that he was having a party. Busted, dude. Busted, dude. They pulled out pictures, dude.
Oh,
like,
no.
Just in case, like, they thought I had, because, like, we were cool. Like, I babysitted their kids. Like, we were cool.
Yeah.
And they had the insurance, dude, in case like they ever need, like I double crossed them or something. They're like, yeah, we'll party. Pictures posted. Like, dude, and my mom was like, I thought I could trust you. And I'm like, you can? You know? I'm like, it was one time. You know? It's like, boy. And I really did. And then at my other side, like I didn't get in trouble for this for much. Like my stepmom, my dad's side, super cool parent. Could like, dude, one time when I went to UCO, sadly, I didn't get arrested, but I did get into some trouble with the campus police one time. And she came and like got me, and it was like no big deal. But so she's like my cool parent. But there was one time, dude, I threw a party at my dad's house, and my mom had like, my stepmom, sorry, had recently got the carpet shampooed. And she was like, I knew you had a party because I saw like 8 footprints on the carpet. I'm like, are you like a detective? Like, how do you know that? Like, but yeah, I was never smooth enough to get away with the party. Those were the 2 I threw, and I got caught both times. So dude, I learned my lesson.
I threw one. I say one. I've thrown a few. I'm gonna talk about the one my parents did know about. Again, because they did know about.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk.
So the other ones don't actually exist.
Right. You'll never get it out of me, Ron and Dad. Yeah. But the one I threw was New Year's Eve. It was during my freshman year of college, and my parents were starting to come around to being okay with me, like having drinks and going out, because they're like, we did when we were kids, so it's fine as long as you're responsible.
Like you're an adult at this point,
right? Exactly. Yeah. And I asked them, I was like, hey, do you mind if I have some friends over, like just for some fraternity brothers and a few people over for New Year's Eve? And like, oh yeah, that'd be fun. Like it. We can make sure that everybody's safe and stays here and yada yada yada. I was like, okay, cool. And so I even talked to them about like, hey, like none of us are 21, so would you guys mind buying like beer and stuff? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. Like,
what a tough conversation though.
So
like, props to you.
Yeah, and we were like really like we were starting to try and find the limits of like them being what they were okay with and what they weren't okay with. And time got a lot closer. And they were like, hey, I don't know if we're comfortable with buying the beer. You guys can still come over. You can still drink. But like, they're like, we feel like that kind of makes us responsible if we buy the alcohol. So like, you'll just have to find another way.
I see your parents coming to this conclusion and having this like logical argument with you.
Yep.
And just being like,
we'll turn a blind eye to it, but we're not going to purchase it.
We can't be providing.
So the funniest thing about it was this whole time I had a fake ID. So I literally was just like, okay, that's okay. I'm going to go get some and be back. Like, and they were like, and I came back, like I was back in like 10 minutes. And they're like, how did you get that so fast? And I was like, well, I have a friend very close. So.
You don't know the neighbor. They're new.
So I get back. I've got all the beer. We go to the basement. I've invited, some people from my fraternity and like just friends from college, and a handful of people come over. And it's like right on that line of like, it's fun. We're all hanging out, but it's like not quite enough people for people to like you could tell people were like, I was hoping there'd be a few more people, here. Like it doesn't need to be crazy or anything, but just like, it'd be a little bit more fun if there are a few more people here. It's like, fuck. Okay. I'm like, I know one person from high school that he usually is kind of the go-to person when you want to know where the parties are at. So like he's the one that kind of directs where everybody's going. And I'm like, it's hopefully he's not with a ton of people. So I call him and I'm like, hey, what are you up to this? What are you guys doing for New Year's? And he's like, we really couldn't find much. He's like, there's a party out in O'Fallon, which is like a 20-minute drive. And they're like, there's nothing else. So we're going out there, but we really don't want to drive that far. And I was like, dude, fuck it. Just come over here. I should have asked him how many people he had with him because it turned into, we'll skip forward here a little bit to
gonna Tarantino it.
Yep. To my buddy Trey Cooper. You know Trey well. Mm-hmm. He can be a bad influence sometimes, but I always have a great time with him.
Bad influence.
Him
was a police officer.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah.
Comes full circle.
Him in my backyard, and every kid that was from my high school that came over inside. So my parents have a basement with a walkout door in the back, and all the kids in my high school were at this back door looking out at my friend Trey Cooper, who is a friend from college, so does not know all these people. My friend Trey Cooper, he is a 300-pound bowling ball.
Yeah.
Has his shirt off and flexing as hard as he can, saying, "Let's go, motherfuckers."
Ready to just fight a whole high school.
And they tried. They tried.
It sounds like they lost.
They held their own.
Yeah.
Luckily it didn't get too out of hand. At least during the fight. But yeah, that was, you invite like a handful of people over and you just invite the one wrong person that ends up,
and then Trey Cooper gets in a fight.
Yeah. And he just, one wrong person just turns into 50 extra people, and it's just, oof. Yeah. So I wasn't allowed to have parties after that.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, My mom had a little bit tighter reins on me after the hot tub incident. I'm like, I think you may need to throw an extra cup of chlorine in there to clean it after that, Mom.
Fun fact, I got a party story. So we used to, my mom be a heavy sleeper. She's a real heavy sleeper. And I don't know who owned our house before us, but they did sure do some soundproofing when it came to like her bedroom. Her bedroom was at the very far end of the house, and like it was just like 3 of her walls were outside, but the only window she had was to like the side of the house, not to like the backyard or to like the patio or anything. And we tested this a couple of times, but you could stand on the patio and yell as loud as you could, and you could barely hear it in her room, right? So they had some good soundproofing from like the outside.
That's crazy.
Right. Paid us some dividends. My mom probably got that sleep apnea also, so she's snoring away. And so what turned into me having a few friends over, and my mom had a big liquor cabinet that she just kept in the living room. So we would, be stealing drinks or whatever.
Refill with a little Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, right. So what I did was, my mom never really drank it. So a lot of what I did was, funny enough, don't get any ideas, kids, any of our kids watching this, is I would just dump out all of her alcohol into like water bottles and then hide it in my closet and then refill hers with water. So like I had all the vodka and all of those were just
vodka bottles full of water.
She's had fake ones, right? Which will always remind me. So I'll tell a story that'll lead into the bigger story. But so she was like, all the alcohol was fake. Like 90% of it was fake. It was bad. And so I started having more and more friends over because I realized I had 5 friends over and we'd all drink and like we got away with it. And then it would be like I'd have 10 friends over and we'd all drink and we got away with it. And I'd have 20 friends over and we'd all drink and be in the backyard and doing whatever and
keep pushing the boundary.
And I was a big brain. I've always had a big brain. I don't know if you guys know this.
You can see it.
But we had
big brain, big head. It kind of goes.
Yeah, we had a big pine tree in the backyard, and what I used to do was I would take like a big black 40-gallon trash bag or whatever. and I would go tie it inside the pine tree, like behind all the pine needles. So you couldn't see it. And it'd be like, everybody knew that if you had a beer can or a bottle or a cigarette butt or whatever, to go put it in that bag in the tree.
That's brilliant.
Because if I didn't get it that night, my mom wouldn't say, well, I was like going to the backyard and digging in the pine tree. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was like, what I would do is then I would wait for my mom to like get up and leave or whatever, or like, you know, that next night she'd gone to bed, I'd go and I'd tie it up and then I'd put it in the dumpster. Nobody would know better. You know what I mean? And everybody knew, like, that is the one rule. Like, you put any paraphernalia of the night
in the neighbor's dumpster.
Yeah, right. Goes into that trash bag in the pine tree. Anyway, first story, because this is hilarious. I literally wake up on the couch, which is like red flag number one that I don't know how she does. But I'm asleep on the couch in the living room. And my mom is like, she's like, oh, Thomas, I decided to make myself a breakfast cocktail. And I'm like, shit, I'm so screwed, right? And she's like, I'm making a tiki punch or something, I don't know. And she grabs this bottle of Captain Morgan, which is a full bottle of water and a cap full of Dr. Pepper, which perfectly makes the color, if anybody's curious.
Don't listen to this, kids.
Yeah. So she mixes herself, she gets a shaker out. She mixes up herself this whole drink. She pours it into like her glass, and I'm just sitting there like sweating bullets. Like, I'm a sip away from being busted, right? And she takes a swig of her like tiki punch and she looks at me and she goes, ooh, so smooth. And then walks away. And I'm like, oh my God.
Exhale.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, fun fact, because that's Dr. Pepper water, Mom. like, that ain't no rum. That's a virgin tiki punch. But we, this, you know, escalated, obviously. And you're getting to the best part of the story. Y'all got weak bladders. That's your problem.
You know what's actually funny?
Pause,
while we're pausing, you and I could talk for a second, because my stepdad and my mom, when we would go, and keep in mind, I'm the oldest of four on this side, okay? And I'm not talking like I'm 7. I mean, like, I'm like 14, 15, 16 at this point. Like, we're going places. And when we stopped to get food, my stepdad, it was against the rule, and I was the only kid. I could not get a drink with my meals.
Yeah.
Because weird thing, like, I don't know what the medical term is, but like my bladder stopped growing at like 4 or 5 years old. It's weird. Again,
I'm sorry, I made fun of your bladder.
If there's somebody out there who knows the term, comment it, because I don't know.
Baby bladder.
It's called baby bladderitis. And I have that. And it was so funny because like especially like during challenges, like if I'm drinking water, dude, like I am hitting the head quite frequently.
Yeah.
And it's really nothing I can do to stop it.
Yeah.
And when I could definitely tell, like, when I'm drinking water and when I'm not, because it escalates from 3 or 4 times a day to like 12 or 13 times a day that I'm taking a piss if I'm guzzling the water down. So I definitely notice the difference. And like you were saying, again, since we're on a pause conversation,
I'm sorry,
about
everybody.
Yeah, it's fine. You talk
Production
about
quality's dipped.
Pouring like the fake liquor or whatever, right? Yeah. So I used to go to Lake Texoma back in the day, and I had a buddy of mine who had one of those families that were a little bit more well off than other people's. You know, it had like the overview and the dock and like the 3 boats to choose from, the Sea-Doos, all the things. And they would keep their liquor all in the freezer. They really liked it cold, right? Well, we were young and stupid at the time and didn't realize that, even if you mixed water and booze, like it was still going to freeze in the freezer. So we had a night, like you said, where we got the Grey Goose because like he called us rat bastards. And so the rat bastards would get into the freezer, and we took a lot of the Grey Goose and we filled it up with water. And the next day he came in there and checked his freezer before we went out on the boat. And needless to say that 16-year-old us got our asses kicked by his dad, and was like, you can touch any whiskey you want, but if you touch my Grey Goose, we're going to have... It wasn't even the fact that we drank. It's like, you took mine.
Yeah, you took my drink.
You messed up. Like,
That's
we're like,
hilarious.
oh, my bad, Jeff. You know, sorry.
That's so funny. So I was making fun of you guys having to go pee, and he lets me know he has a diagnosable baby bladder, and now I feel all bad.
I got a baby bladder, but I got skin of iron. You're good. Make fun of me all you want.
Baby bladderitis, and here I am being a jerk.
Doctor comes in, Jordan, we've got bad news. Looks like you got the baby bladder.
You do.
I hate to see it. Back to my story. So yeah, my mom's does the whole so smooth, and I'm like, okay, I'm invincible. Obviously at this point, I'm like I can make 0 mistakes. I can do no wrong. And so my sister, who's a couple years older than me, kind of knew what was going on, but didn't really know what was going on, and we've always had like a back and forth kind of relationship. And I was finally like, you know what? Come hang out with us. Like, we're having some people over, like come out and like we're drinking or whatever. And my sister proceeds to get slosh buckets, right? Just
love that.
Hammered, right? Which is great. Everybody's having a good time. We have no fights. We have no problems, right? I wake up the next morning on the couch again. I think this is a theme. I don't know how this wasn't obvious, right? And it's like all of my friends had miraculously gone home, early morning. And my sister walks out. I don't know what happened. My sister walks out. She looks at me on the couch, looks at my mom, who's sitting in the kitchen, looks back at me, opens the back door, walks outside, unties the trash bag from the pine tree, comes back into the kitchen with a full bag, dumps it out on the kitchen tile in front of my mom and goes, "Look what your son did last night."
Is your sister older or younger?
Older, 2 years. Oh. Did I tell you how she's a no good tattletale? Because she's a no good tattletale. I still to this day don't know what I did to make her do this. And I just looked at her.
You invited her.
And I looked at her and I said, she drank just as much as we did. Like if I'm going down, you're coming down with me.
Like, don't you know that this is going to be the repercussion for you calling me out?
Yeah, I'm obviously going to say you were involved.
Right. Like you condoned it.
Right.
Like you encouraged it.
You were drunker than, I was like, you had more than anybody last night. You were drunker than, you were crawling down the hallway. What are you talking about?
That's strange because usually tattletale you'd think would be the younger sibling over the older.
I don't know what happened, but she just felt the need, and yeah, that was. And then my mom's like crying because she's like, there's like 30 beer cans and like two fists of alcohol. Like, oops.
There was a one time. Actually, preface this a little bit with I've learned that my parents are a little bit more okay with marijuana than I realized as a kid. I won't get into the details there.
What?
But my dad asked me about when we had Julian Smith on the podcast, and we smoked some weed.
A known user.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And my dad kind of asked me about it and was like totally cool with it. And anyway,
moving on.
Moving on.
No, I will say, I actually have something to add to that because my mom, so now granted, I think just like anything, and fitness included, I think you do it too much, you have a problem, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. In college, I had a redshirt season, and I had never, ever, ever, not been the guy wrestling. Wrestled in college, everybody. So I just wasn't used to not starting, not going out and getting points, not being the dude.
Yeah.
And my coach is like, hey, it's your junior year. And keep in mind, pre-rankings come out before season starts. And I was pre-ranked number 7, predicted All-American. And he was like, I want to redshirt you this year. And I was like, no. But that's what he wanted. And he was like, our team is going to be good next year and we can go do something. So I want to save your eligibility to have 2 years with this new group. Mm-hmm. So I was the first season ever to wrestle for this college. So we weren't good early on, but we had potential to be. And so I started to dabble in shit that I shouldn't have been dabbling in. And I came home one time and it was obvious, my grades weren't good. My car smelled like a joint and it wasn't good, and so my mom was like, you're going to hell, and you can't see your sister, da, 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 da. And I was like, whoa, it's really not like that. And now it's actually funny because it's funny, as society has kind of like come to more to terms, like it's not about going out and getting stoned. It's like people use like gummies to like go to bed or like they're sore in places. And like, so that's what my parents, it's actually funny because
my mom has
my mom
pen.
and stepdad actually have like, like have tried gummies. And I'm like, I never thought, I'm like, your demon spawn, you know, like
you turned it around. You're going out.
But it is. And like, everybody can use like whatever it is. And I'm not like condoning heroin or anything, but like you can like use what you need to use, like make yourself feel better. Like it's good, man. Like I'm all for it if it helps you out, man, especially with as far as the THC goes, like do what you do, man. Yeah.
Just to be clear on the Julian podcast, I didn't smoke, so you guys enjoy the burning fire of Satan.
No, like, and I'm not saying like I go on a regular.
He was the only one that didn't participate. There's 4 of us, and he's the only one that didn't smoke pot with us.
I just don't like it.
No, and like I've actually met people though who like really don't. It's like it stresses me out, and I was like, I never got that vibe, but like everybody reacts to stuff differently. But
I have to be conscious of how much I use because like if I use too much too fast or something like that, like I can get a little paranoid. I have to be in the right mindset. I can't, use it just anytime.
Well, dude, I will tell you, like
for me, dog.
In college, like it was definitely too much. And like I said, is like it's not really like a regular thing anymore. But like back then when I was young, my gosh, dude, like it was. And like the problem is like, so my brother actually asked me about it the other day, like, what are you comfortable with me doing? And I was like, hey bro, like at the end of the day, like he just turned 21. I was like, dude, like you're going to drink, like he's in a fraternity, like you're going to do what you do. Ew. And I was like,
yuck.
But as far as like that goes, I'm like, dude, as long as like you're getting your shit done, like I'm not. Right. I was like, here's the deal: like if someone makes it or it comes in pill form, like
in the world.
Do not do that. Yeah, I was like, don't trust anything anybody gives you. I was like, go to a place and like buy it. Like, cause like I was like, you don't have to.
You can do that now.
Well, I was like, you don't have to meet a stranger behind
like an Apple store.
You don't have to meet strangers behind McDonald's and get it in a plastic bag.
Oh, like, dude, it's so funny to think back to like being in high school where it was like, I remember this is a funny story. I remember being in high school and my buddy, and I didn't like do drugs because I'm a good boy. Anybody not watching the video can't see me winking right now. But my buddy was like, "Hey, I got to go pick something up real quick," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm cool. Let's do it," And we like pull up to some apartment on the wrong side of town and walk into like 4 dudes sitting there and like 3 guns on the table and like a trash bag full of pot. And I'm like 16 and I'm like, oh, hey guys.
So that was like a pretty big drug deal, dude.
No,
like
it wasn't. It was not. It was
they
not.
They just had guns for the shit of it.
Well, like my friend was like, I needed, like what he was like, could I get an 8th or whatever? And you're like, the guy was like, what are you fucking with me with this? And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we're cool,
We do it all the time.
Yeah, we're cool, dude. We're cool. And I'm like, I'm going to die. And I'm like, dude, this is not a place that we should have been at all.
We should be talking to the guy that talks to these guys.
Because now you can walk into a place that looks like an Apple store or like it looks like a freaking Triad. And it's like, oh yeah, what strain do you like? Do you like pineapples or strawberries?
No, it is. It is though, because like I went to Canada recently, and I went to Canmore, which is right outside of Banff. So that's where we stayed. So we looked at some places in Banff, but it was so touristy and it's overpriced. And like when I go to like a local bar, like I want to go and see, not like saying like I want to see Canadians like at a zoo, but like I want to see the locals, But do you guys get what I'm saying? It's like. You guys should see how hard they're laughing right now.
We're going to see Canadians like at the zoo.
I need to clarify what I mean by that. Obviously.
That is the funniest thing that's ever been said on this podcast.
What I mean by that is you go.
I'm sweating.
You go to a bar and you see the douchebag like you that's in the North Face sweatshirt and the hiking boots. Like they're not local. I wanted to go and like meet the local people.
Yeah.
not behind the fence, right? So we stayed in Canmore, and it was a great city, like 20 minutes outside of Banff. It was great. And there were locals there, and it was great to learn the local.
I'm glad you didn't have to go to an exhibit to see them.
You'd be surprised. It's harder to find than you think.
Gosh.
And
dude, I don't know if we can move past this. Dude, that was so funny.
Canadians are behind fences, folks. They are, in fact, in their natural habitat.
Oh my
just roaming the countryside.
So you wanted to see locals.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the way you could put it.
And we succeeded in that. And so like we went to this local bar, right? And but like they have the beer on tap, and you go in there and you're like, you know, like I want to try 17. They're like, oh yeah, like Nolan makes that. He lives like 3 streets over. You're like, cool. Like, what about like the 24? They're like, oh yeah, like Cooper makes that. He's actually playing guitar over there in the corner. It was cool to like see how the locals live instead of seeing how I live when I'm on vacation in Canada.
You weren't with the tourists.
There wasn't 60 people in the bar. There were 8, and they were cool local people. That's what I meant.
Found the local people.
Yes. And I actually...
the funniest thing about... The reason I think we feel comfortable to laugh is because Canadians are also Caucasian.
Right. But they are, like, I will say that they are definitely different than Edmond, Oklahoma. That's for damn sure. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys actually I met, and I was like, so what do you do? He's like, oh, I work part-time at the bar. And I was like, well, what's your other part-time? He was like, I make hiking sticks. And I was like, oh, well, that sounds cool.
That's such a Canadian thing to do.
I was like, so how much to customize me a hiking stick? And keep in mind, like at the store, like, and I'm not really sure what the transfer over is, but it was like for like a shitty one that has like nothing on it, like you can get for like $60 like Canadian. And I don't think that's quite $60 American.
Yeah, it's like that'd be like 45.
Right. But like for like the really good ones, like you're looking at like $200 or so Canadian. So like you're whatever. And he told me, he was like, I will customize you whatever you want for $80 US. And I was like what I want, like, dude, it's got like leather wraparound, like it's like curved, cool, like it's got like courage restraint. There's some other stuff on there that's like in like their, you know, their symbols or whatever. But it was cool because it's like that's something that I get to take home. That had I would have gone and stayed in Banff, like I wouldn't have got to meet that guy to do that. And that was the whole point. Is like it was cool to go see a culture different than my own, because mountain people are a badass type of people. And what I was kind of got off track, but like you go in there and like I said, don't do it really regularly anymore, but it was good. Like, dude, I haven't really done it since college. Like it's legal here. Like I want to go into this shop. And they were like, what do you want? Like cookies and cream or like, and I was like, I've never really done this without like pulling up in a parking lot. Like it's been years, but like
some random
where it was like you can have this or you can have nothing.
Right. But they had like, they were like, do you want to eat it? Like, do you want to smoke it? Like, do you want to do whatever? And I'm like, I just want to relax. So like, what do you have for me? You know? And it was cool because like, even like my girlfriend, like she doesn't do that, but like, she like tried it and she was like, oh, like it's not that bad. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of cool just to like you said, like experience other cultures. And that was, by the way, like that's what my tattoo is. It's Banff National Park. And I went there and it's the most beautiful place I've ever been, bar none. And it was funny because like we got back home and she was like, where do you want to go next? And I was like, I want to go back. Yeah. Like, cause you can't see it all in one trip.
Yeah. We did Jasper, which is just like the north end of that mountain range. And
dude, the drive to Jasper is amazing, dude. And that's the thing is like, when you go up there, that's so cool that you've been up there, man. Cause I haven't met a lot of people that have. And it's like you just driving, you're mesmerized.
We stayed in Edmonton and then drove the like couple hours over there to Jasper, and because we went to Jasper instead of Banff just because it's not so touristy. And it's
just so I don't feel left out. I did play Banff on the golf simulator the other day.
I bet you I played in real life the golf course you did on the deal.
Dude, I've seen videos of that and
it's beautiful.
Yeah, the Jasper. We were on different like hiking trails and you see the golf course on Jasper. That's just like It's one of those things where like as you're driving, you're like, oh, like every mountain I'm looking at is the biggest mountain I've ever seen.
And
it's
then you
like,
turn.
And you're like,
no, it's not.
That is also the biggest mountain I've ever seen. And you're just like, that is also the biggest mountain. It's crazy.
Going back to
Canadians and Zoom.
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna catch so much flack for that.
So
too.
good.
It's fine though.
It's okay.
It comes from a good place.
I will double down on this, not from a personal story, but one time Hasiel was talking to Stephen Rideout in at Triad, and goes, Stephen Rideout's Canadian, like from Canada, Canadian, and Hasi goes, so do you guys like eat maple syrup a lot? And Preston was like, bro, that was so fucked. You can't say that. And like, and Preston was like, that's like, because both Preston and Hasi are both Hispanic. Preston was like, is that like, do you eat tacos? Like, you can't say that, dude. Like, you dummy.
I know Hasi, and he was genuinely curious too.
Oh, for sure. Like, he's just like, well, I didn't know.
Man, I don't think our Canadian viewership is that high, so I think we're okay.
Yeah, we're good.
When you go to Canada, though, and like the airport and all the shops, they have those like maple sandwich cookies that are shaped like a maple leaf.
You bet your sweet ass.
Oh, they are the greatest thing you've ever had in your life. And when Laurel and I we stopped in Canada on our cruise to Alaska, and that was like the first. I'm like, we gotta get them. I'm finding the freaking maple cookies. So they're like little Oreo like sandwich cookies, but
they're so
like,
good, dude.
Shaped like maple, and they're maple. Oh,
you know what you said? Like,
around.
talk about the airport though. Like on our way back, right? Like we had an early morning flight because, dude, me and my girl, we'd be looking for the deals on the flights.
Oh, yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if it's like, oh, you leave at 2 a.m. It's like fine. Like my schedule, like I'm good at getting wherever. Dude, so like we got up and like we weren't rushed. Like we had left in plenty of time, but like our car was on E. And I was like, oh, like on the way to the airport, like that's different than the way we've been going. Right. And I'm like, well, the way we've been going to the mountains, like you pass like 7 gas stations on the way to the mountains. So I'm like, surely on the way to the airport, it's like the same. But on the way in to the town, we're like, oh, mountains. Like we weren't paying attention. Dude, there was none. And like, dude, we're hitting these gas stations on the way. And like we pulled into like 6 or 7 gas stations and none of them took like US cards or like US money. Ooh. And like they weren't open on the inside to like, make the exchange. And I was like, dude, we're gonna run out of gas and like not make our flight. And I'm like, I'm not mad that we may have to stay here longer, but like didn't really plan on like just like missing the flight. Well, like luckily we come out and there's like a guy like I'm guessing like was early to his shift because he was out chilling in his car, and I went and knocked. I was like, "Do you work here? Like, can you like let me in to like make the exchange?" Totally cool about it. Made the exchange, put some gas in the car, and made it. But it was like by the skin of our teeth. Like we made it like probably like 5 minutes before the door closed, like on our flight. Like we were close.
Dude, I know it's at least a little bit more common here in Oklahoma, especially going down 44. But my first experience with this, and it was very extreme, was actually, I think it was on Vancouver Island. I was there with my family. We were doing like a whole like vacation camping trip kind of deal. And we were hitting different spots. And there was one point in time where there was like a bunch of signs leading up to like, there's not going to be another gas station for, it was like 150 miles.
And you ignore those.
And
subconsciously.
Well, I think my parents were luckily, they were prepared of like, okay, like we got to make sure we have gas. But it's like, dude, that's crazy to think about. Like you could make it 100 miles that way and run out of gas.
Well, how much is in your tank if you're full anyway?
I think like
typically,
I know it like depends, but
probably. Like
so if you're at a half tank and you're not paying attention, like you could run out of gas.
Yeah. You don't have to get anywhere close to low. I might be exaggerating 150, but I remember it being a long way, like a very long way without a gas station. And I was like, fuck, that ain't. I've like literally never, like I don't think I've ever been anywhere in my life where there wasn't a gas station within the next 2 miles.
And funny enough, I've ran out of gas like a good number of times in like Springfield.
I was with a buddy one time where he ran out of gas on the highway, but coasted into a spot at the gas station.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I ran out in the turn in one time. And the turn in was like on one of these. And so like it took like me and like 6 cars like help me push my car in. And I was like, I am so sorry to everybody that's honking. You know, like that might be one of the most embarrassing times. Like, I had my pants and boxers, mind you, like rip my freshman year in the cafeteria, and running out of gas might have been more embarrassing just because of like,
that was the peak.
Yeah. Because it like I wasn't 16. Like I was like 22. Like that was embarrassing, dude. I was like I should know better, you know? And I just, can't live that one down.
I feel like we could get into most embarrassing stories now.
Well, anyway, that we actually we just crossed over past a little over 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
it does go quick.
It goes so fast, dude.
I didn't even realize how quick it goes.
It's just talking, man. Just telling stories, having a good time.
Yeah, with you guys, I feel like it would be like super easy to go like 4 or 5 hours. Like it wouldn't even be an issue.
A lot of these episodes, I feel like if we were just like, we'll just stop whenever we feel like it, dude, it'd be bad. Alyssa would be calling.
We'd have no listeners because they'd be like, screw this.
It's actually been a benefit that we've started doing these like, well, that we do these a little bit later, because otherwise, like if we did them all at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we'd be like, we all got that. It's 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
right? It'd go by so. But luckily, we start them pretty late, so it's almost 10 o'clock at night right now.
Yeah,
so it's like, we gotta get home.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jordan, just to kind of start wrapping things up, man. Kind of to touch on what Kevin was talking about earlier, man. It has been, I know personally cool for Kevin and cool for the company itself to kind of watch you and your own personal growth and the things that you've been able to accomplish within the industry and the things that you kind of have going for you. Obviously, we wholeheartedly think that True Grit is just one of the coolest things out there, man. You guys just do it the right way. You do it right by your people. You care about your people to a level that is like not typically seen in any industry, let alone like the fitness industry. And so getting to see you as somebody who we know, and as I think will show on this podcast, as somebody who just like puts your heart into everything, it's really cool to watch you succeed and watch like your dreams come true in these kind of avenues that you've been really putting yourself into. And man, you guys are so popular, and you guys are as big as you are because of those kind of things, because of the genuine care that you have for your people and the care and the intentional, things that you guys do when it comes to your workouts, but just your people and the camaraderie and the community that you provide. Like we kind of touched on earlier, man, like I think you, and most people don't realize, but I think you guys specifically might not realize like how many years of life you've added to the Oklahoma City community and these people that you get to see and touch on a regular basis. And so, man, we love you. We love everything that you guys are doing. We also just think you're a super cool guy, and just getting to be your friend is cool too. And so we're proud to be here, proud to have you on, man, and just keep doing you, man. You guys are killing it. So,
well, thanks. I appreciate it. You guys are killing it too, and friendship goes long beyond a podcast.
Yeah,
so
right.
I appreciate you guys having me on, and I look forward to more adventures with you guys.
Yeah. Hope you had fun.
Yeah. Oh, I had a freaking blast. Dude, if you can't tell that, get your ears checked, man. I had a blast, man.
This was a lot of fun. Dude, I don't feel like I've gotten to catch up with you. It's like, dude, I feel like I obviously got to see a lot more when my home base was at Quail Springs, and got to work with you on a more regular basis and see you. And man, like, to be honest with you, dude, I miss you quite a bit, dude.
I miss you too, man. And like I said, dude, it's I know life gets busy, Kev, and like, trust me, dude, like I get that, man. And like, but I do, like, I look up to you and I admire you a lot, because right now, like, dude, at the end of the day, like, our goal isn't to have just one location. Like, we want to have more, but it's you have found a way to duplicate the product, and that's hard to do, man. So like, don't ever sell yourself short,
to go from 1 to 2, man.
Because because Travis and I were just like, dude, like, if we're not there, like, is it going to be as good?
Yeah, right.
And I'm not
scary.
like talking on our employees. No, our employees are great.
No, I know what you mean though.
But it's like, that's what has made True Grit tick. And I'm just like, it's kind of scary. But shout out to my boy Dev, dude. Like, Dev's our new head trainer, and he's been rushing it.
Heck
And I just
yeah.
want to give him one last.
I know he's been involved
dude.
for a long time,
Dude, he was
That's cool to
helping
see
us
him
move
grow.
equipment in without getting paid, bro. Like he was there from day one. Was my roommate back then, and I don't think he liked helping us out back then, but he's happy he did now. And, but he's been crushing. But yeah, dude, like I said, we'll catch up. I know we're gonna get you and Thomas out on the golf course soon, and not the simulator, but we'll get out on the come out to the greens with me.
Yeah.
Come out to the greens whenever.
We need to. Yeah.
I'd love to.
It's not a long course, but it's a tricky course.
We've played. It's
We've
fun.
played the greens one time before.
have you?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, dude. We'll have to go out there and
That's a good course.
play
Super down.
play some golf.
When we played the greens, that was when we were on that tee box and the lady came out from her backyard and just gave us beers from her fridge.
That is where that happened.
Yeah, it was like the old lady, and she's like,
Was it hole 13 by chance?
I have no
Because
idea.
I was gonna say like there is a lady that's like,
Is
"You
it
guys
Angie?
thirsty?" It's like
You
it's
talking
like,
about Angie?
Of course,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely thirsty.
She came out and she just handed us some beers and was like, I had these in my fridge. And I'm like, heck yeah, this is awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Sorry we hit a ball in your yard, but I'm glad I'm here now.
Sorry I broke your window.
Sorry about your window. I'll take a beer.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's man, I don't get to see you as often as I used to. So, dude, this was a lot of fun to just have an opportunity to hang out and just BS with you and talk and catch up, man. It's I'm realizing how much I missed you with hanging out with you on this episode.
And that's how it goes,
So,
man.
It's man, when you're busy, it's this is at least an excuse of like, it's work related, right? So,
And and like I said, is like I've been around Kevin, known Kevin forever, and Thomas, I've known you forever too, but we don't see each other as much as Kevin and I do. But dude, it's been an absolute treat, man. I hope that this like blossoms into something better, honestly.
Absolutely.
Because this was a 1 in a million experience, and you guys are great. If you're not subscribing, you should, because this is awesome.
Could be pretty cool.
Didn't listen to 9 episodes this week, but I did.
last thing, man, I don't want to, I know I mentioned this before, but I mean, you talk about our growth and man, we've been extremely blessed over the last few years to be able to blossom into multiple locations. And it's been incredibly awesome to watch, to be a part of your guys' growth, to hundreds and hundreds of members that you guys have and the transformations that you guys have seen. But I don't want to, I want to explain how big of a role that you guys played in our growth and
Thanks, I appreciate that.
the takeoff point of especially in 2018, when it was a very pivotal moment where we made a lot of changes that really propelled us forward an unexplainable amount. So you guys played a crazy role in our growth, man.
A vital role at that time.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, we really do appreciate it. I appreciate that. True Grit appreciates that. And we can't wait to see where our relationship goes moving forward.
Can't wait to see you guys keep growing too, man.
That's it. Do we know what episode this is?
I think 39.
39.
39. It's almost my age. Jeez.
39.
What'd you say? You were 42?
Yeah.
39 and feeling fine. No, that was Travis. Travis is 42. 33, baby. But 39 and feeling fine.
That's
Love
it. Well, all right. Episode 39. So appreciate you guys sticking with us and, tell us what you see at the zoo. So
Thanks, guys.